Yeah, this is pastrami. So this is made with brisket. It's based on like a Montreal smoked meat recipe.
Yeah.
If you ever been to Montreal, New York, you know, like, should I talk into this right now?
You're good.
You
It's
hear
probably
me?
getting you.
Okay.
Can you hear him in the headphones?
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. So yeah, Montreal, New York are like the spots for pastrami
Right.
and smoked meat. Montreal is like a smoked meat sandwich. Mile End is the neighborhood in Montreal. I used to live pretty close to there.
Oh, nice.
And they opened up a shot or opened up a spot in New York City. So they have like a Jewish deli. And
My favorite gas.
yeah. So anyway,
That's awesome,
that's
dude.
the Montreal smoked meat.
Why were you living in Montreal?
So my wife and I moved around like a lot.
Well, dude, that is phenomenal pastrami.
Can I grab a glass of water actually?
Absolutely.
I've been eating mostly smoked meats and salty meat and drinking coffee, and then at some point switching to beer.
That's honestly my dream.
It's
I've been trying to get there. You can
yeah.
throw the headphones on too. It sounds way better.
Okay. Yeah, I've been trying to take it easy on the beers because like it messes up your sleep.
Right.
And getting enough sleep has been
Yeah, sleep is a little
important.
crucial.
Do you like sparkling water?
That'd be great. Thanks.
Only the fanciest.
Oh, this is nice.
Dude,
Yes. Well, I don't.
more of this.
I'm taking one for the red.
So I hope all you guys are good with hearing loud chewing noises because it's happening. This? That's so good.
If you get hungry,
Yeah. I don't even want that.
So,
yep.
Dude. Yeah, that's killer. How's the sandwich?
how's the sandwich? Yeah,
What's wrong with him?
it's good.
I was like, I hope you're trying to have this on I stole it and started eating it.
I'm just really ugly. That's the problem, really, with the... He's like wondering if I'm in frame. It's like, no, I'm in frame. I'm just terrible to look at. Dude, that's phenomenal. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. I love
Yeah, pretty
pastrami in
pumped
general, but this is next level.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big brisket guy. Oh, show.
Sorry, I gotta mess with these.
You're good.
All right.
You're good. We can edit. This isn't live, so
Oh, okay.
no big deal.
Yeah. I don't know how far back you want to start, but yeah, starting from right now, the shop is open. We opened. We did like a soft open on Saturday.
Nice.
We had friends and family on Thursday, so I had like 30 members of my family and a bunch of friends come in. I was really pumped. I had one of the dudes from the Steelers. He's like the backup, or he's like he's backup center, I believe, second string center.
Okay.
His name's JC
Nice.
Hassan.
Yeah, I know JC for sure.
Dude,
yeah.
I like follow. I don't know, like I did social media stuff before, like just using Instagram and whatever.
Right.
But once I did the Fat Butcher Instagram at Fat Butcher Shop, I just started like following everybody. I followed like all the Steelers, all the Pirates, all the
Smart.
Penguins, like, and I'm like, if anyone hits me back, like I'll write him back right away. And he was like, dude, you're opening up like a whole animal butcher shop in Pittsburgh. Like you're doing like nose to tail butchery. I'm like, yeah. And he was like, let me know whenever you open. And so like during bye week was last week, he was like, I wrote him and like a bunch of people like, hey, during bye week, come in. Mm-hmm. And he was like, dude, like what days? And I was like, well, we're going to be soft open Saturday, grand openings the next week. We have friends and family on Thursday. And he's like, what's up with the friends and family? I was like, it's going to be like maybe like 30 people or so. Like we're going to be drinking, it's low pressure for the staff to like, it's going to be like all my uncles, like everyone breaking
Right.
balls. Like it's going to be fine, but we're going to be cutting steaks to order. We're going to be doing like, a first trial. Like we were butchering a cow the day before.
That's
and
killer.
a pig like 2 days before that. So we had a bunch of sausage we had made, cutting like huge ribeyes. And dude, yeah, I got some cool pictures from that. I like sawed like all these like ribeyes and they were cutting them. I sold the first one to my cousin and then he bought the second one. I was just like really pumped. And he was just like one of the dudes just like hanging out with all my friends. Like we didn't make it like a big deal. It was
For
just,
sure.
like,
That's how it's got to be. Like they don't want to,
No.
they don't want that either.
No.
They're just
And, like,
normal dudes.
yeah, everybody else is just like, yeah, like I didn't even make like a thing of it or whatever. And it's just like, yeah, everyone on the staff was just like, you got some big ass friends, dude. 'Cause I had like a couple other dudes.
He
that were
fits in
huge.
at a butcher shop, right?
Mhm.
Like Jay, That's the guy you expect to see. He's a country boy a little bit too, from what I remember. So
Yeah, and he's got some cooking chops, I guess too. So yeah, I haven't seen what he did with the Instagram, like with that huge ribeye,
right?
But I'm sure he did something.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to check in on that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I cover the Steelers a little bit actually too. So I'll try to talk to him maybe after a game or practice or something about it. See what he thought.
Yeah,
I'll get that plug for you.
Please do.
Dude,
yeah.
that's sick. Yeah. So I got a billion questions. I'll just say that off the top because, like I said, my dad grew up grilling and smoking meat. So I grew up in a big meat eating family and just have been obsessed with it. Once I started living on my own, I got a smoker right away. I've been smoking meats and doing the whole thing for a long time.
What kind of smoker do you use?
I got like a big green egg. It's not a big green egg,
cool.
but it's a Kamado smoker.
Yeah.
I love it.
I haven't used those. I've always had the like base run of the mill Weber kettle.
Yeah.
And like I just watched.
I did that for a long time.
Yeah.
Snake method or
yeah. I watched some like country ass dudes on YouTube that like show
Dude,
how to do it.
It's a whole
Yeah.
yeah.
You can't do like a brisket on there though.
Right.
You can't do like a long smoke.
Right.
And there was guys that used to come into the butcher shop in Madison. I used to work at Underground Butcher. That was where I got started.
Okay.
And there was guys that would come in and they would show us like, yeah, I'm smoking this at my house right now on my phone. Like I'm keeping track of the temperature. It was the Komodo thing, and then there was the thing like
it's like a DigiQ or a Party
like a
Q.
Flame Boss or something.
Yeah, they
Like,
make all kinds of stuff like
it's
that
wild.
to regulate it. Yeah, it's like a little fan that clips onto the vent, and yeah.
Which is nice because like if someone's gonna spend $200 on something, like I don't want to tell them like how to cook it and then they mess it up or something. Like it's
right.
It's hard. It's enough pressure. Like if I'm cooking staff meal for like a couple people, like I don't want to mess it up.
Exactly.
I definitely don't want to sell someone something, then tell them how to do it, and then
it's
expect that they're
wrong.
going to do it. Yeah.
yeah. And then they feel like you're the cause for the bad dinner that they just had. It's like, oh,
yeah.
I just spent money to mess up my meal. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I'm
Great
like, just
feeling.
make sure you add enough salt. Like that's usually the first thing. Like salt it heavier than you think you'd want
Yes.
to,
That is rule number one for
Yeah.
smoking anything. I remember the first time I ever smoked a pork butt. I was doing it with one of my friends who had been smoking meats for a long time, and I like put some rub on the pork butt, and he just completely made fun of me for the amount of rub. He's like, dude, do you want it to have flavor or not? I'm like, but that looks like a lot. But
Yeah.
he's like, dude, cover
it.
that thing.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
all right. And I mean, these are the things you learn for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Under seasoning things is a real problem that people have.
Yeah. The thing we did even a pork butt, right? So we did a smoked pork butt last night or 2 nights ago. And so we pulled it out. It's a little bit unconventional, the equipment that we got. So we have what's called a CVAP. It's a cook and hold made by Winston. It's actually a holding oven. But one of the butchers I had worked with in Madison, I think, had worked at a place called Alinea in Chicago under Grant Atkins. He's like one of the goats. Like if you watch like Chef's Table season 1, like
He's on there.
Yeah,
Hell
he's
yeah.
like a guy. And I think now I'm not 100% if it's true he was the first one to like start smoking stuff in a holding oven, but actually like now there's newer combi ovens that have smoke boxes attached on the inside made by Rationale and stuff. But we've got sort of like where I learned is like using this thing that's like a shoebox size smoke box where you put wood chips in and you put it inside of a steamer. Then the steamer is the cook and hold, which are mainly used in like cafeterias and Whole Foods for thawing out like frozen, macaroni and cheese or whatever. Like just getting it to the right temp and then just dumping it into a tray.
Sure.
But that steam is something, if you're smoking meat like in your green egg, like you want to have a water pan in there, right?
Yep.
So we can control the humidity and the heat. And then with this smoke box, I'm only using like a couple tablespoons of chips, and it smokes for like 4 hours. So that was smoked.
Nice.
I went down there like 11 o'clock at night after starting it at like 7 and just turned the smoke box off and then let it steam the rest of the way. But it gets the smoke in there, because it's
oh yeah,
locked
you
in
can
this
definitely
box.
tell. You
Right.
can taste the smoke for sure. That, like I said, that's definitely the best pastrami I've ever had. It really is. Like that's not. I'm not just saying that because you're here. That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like if we weren't recording, that would be gone right now.
Yeah. Usually, I've been handing that to a couple of customers, like as it's like the first couple we were messing with the time and temperature and trying to get it right, and so we were giving samples and being like, what do you think of this? You know, like I made a ham the other day. It's like a little too salty, but like I'm cutting stuff and just handing it over the counter and being like,
That's
tell me, give me
hilarious.
feedback,
Yeah.
you know? And my buddies who, when I made this a few years ago and when I was coming back home to visit from Madison, they were all like, dude, if you do this in Pittsburgh, like you're gonna
blow
it.
their
You're gonna
minds.
be fine. Yeah. And like, so this is something I've been waiting to do and waiting to like debut to people
Yeah.
like, for a couple years now.
I mean, who else even does? Like Permanis is what most Pittsburghers would know pastrami from, honestly. Like maybe get a pastrami and cheese at Permanis.
I don't know who's making their pastrami. I don't know if they're making it.
They probably don't know who's making.
They definitely don't know which cow that came off.
Yeah, right.
That's the other thing is like
That's crazy.
yeah, we butchered that cow like
And then
and took the briskets off and then added the brine, wait 3 weeks, take it out, wash it, put a rub on there that is like, you know, it's specific to how I want it to taste, and then smoke and steam it.
yeah, that whole process is foreign to me. I never made pastrami, but I do know that it's a whole brine, it's a whole preparation to it that's so much different than just smoking a brisket.
It's it along with a lot of other things that we're doing in the shop are preservation methods. You know, like sausages. The original sausages are just preservation methods. You had all this meat. They would put it in the casings, which are the intestines of the animal.
Yep.
And they would put those like under saddles of horses and ride around and like put salt and meat inside of intestines and ride around until they got beat up enough that they were edible.
That's
and then,
savage.
Yeah, dude, yeah. That's like the Mongols are like
It
doing
is.
that shit. Like
That's awesome.
and you know, curing meat over the winter time, you know, is the same thing. Smoking is a preservation method. So when you smoke something, that makes it last longer. It prevents bacteria growth. And a lot of the books we have are like, we have a pretty cool library. And our chef, his name's Jesse Barless. He, I believe he started out in culinary school in Chicago, cut his teeth there at some like fine dining, moved out to LA. Finally, and then ended up moving back to Pittsburgh, or not back to Pittsburgh because he's from Virginia originally. But he has like a really strong passion for reducing food waste.
Okay.
And so even with vegetables, fermentation, making kimchi,
Wow,
making
nice.
Hot sauces, utilizing everything.
That's really cool.
So he's doing all that in the kitchen. I'm doing a lot of this on the butcher side. The squad we have is pretty strong right now. We have like 7 employees total, and everyone there right now is they're just crushing stuff in the kitchen right now. Like we're doing all sorts of things. But a lot of it is in order to utilize the whole animal and in order to reduce food waste, you have to apply some preservation methods, whether it's curing, fermenting, smoking, you know, and just trying to marry all those things. And
That's sick. So are you guys using the bones and everything? Like you making bone broth out of the bones and stuff like that as well?
Just
Selling
about every
bone
day.
marrow?
We're selling bones. We don't have a so we will. I can sell bone marrow, but it's such a small amount. It's hard to get out.
I got you.
So like in some like commercial butcher shops, they have or production facilities or wherever, they'll have a big bandsaw,
Right.
and you can cut the bone lengthwise,
Right.
and like do that like.
And
fold
that's what
open.
it's about. Yeah.
That's really sick. Yeah, I've been to like restaurants where they're like
Bring
like,
it
pour
out.
a
Yeah,
shot.
exactly.
Like pour like some liquor through it or something, like bone marrow shots, and
Why not?
yeah. But ours will just saw off the ends, but we'll roast all the bones. We roasted bones this morning, and we have beef stock.
That's awesome.
You know, rolling, and that gets used in a tons of different applications.
Yeah, I love it, man. I want to back up a little bit though, because you mentioned Montreal, you mentioned Madison, Wisconsin. Where are you from originally? I'm trying to piece this together.
Yeah. So I'm from the AK Valley originally.
Okay.
I went to Kiski. I'm from a small town called Vandergrift, which I'm not sure. I mean, you guys know guys from the Mat Factory.
I
right?
know from Elijah Davis being in Vandergrift. Yeah, that's the
Gotcha.
only reason I know that.
You've been there?
I've never been there. No, I just know the name because it's on his contracts when he fights for us.
I gotcha. Yeah, it's a little steel mill town, you know, up on the Kiski River, up just past New Ken, Earl, and all that.
Got it.
Yeah, so that's where I grew up. I played football at Kiski. I played football in college at Muskingum University.
Okay.
It's in Ohio. It's a
Nice.
small school. I know since you have a lot of MMA listeners, and you're, obviously
Sure.
on the promotion, you know that is like a hotbed for wrestling, and I definitely should have wrestled. Our coach there, Chuck Tursky, was like a legendary
Nice.
MMA, like I don't know. He was
Pioneer.
Like, yeah. Like when I think they did like tough man competitions back in the day, he would wrestle dudes that weren't even on the wrestling team at gym class.
That's sick.
Yeah, dude. He
I
was
love
our
it.
football coach. So anyway, like
Yeah, you could have had a head start. You're a purple belt now, which is still an incredible achievement. But dude, you could be.
Yeah, I don't think I had it in me in high school, man. Like I don't think I had it in me to go in the singlet. I didn't have the heart back then, man.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That's a tough sport, and I knew not to mess with wrestlers, and I knew that if I had to go and like practice with them, it was going to be a tough
Right.
day. And Coach Tursky, he was like, you should be wrestling instead of playing basketball. I mean, I shouldn't have been even trying to play basketball, but and he was like, if I really wanted you to wrestle, like you'd be wrestling, right? And I'm like, I do know that.
I do believe
you
that.
could,
Yeah.
yes, you could make me wrestle. But I had fun playing football and mainly focused on that. I moved out to, after college, I actually majored in geology.
Okay.
So my goal there was basically to just get in oil and gas and make some money, pay off, everything.
Very
from
reasonable.
college.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good move. It was at the time. There was like an oil, I don't know if it was like a boom. This is like 2007, 2006.
Mm-hmm.
We started working in California on oil rigs.
Nice.
As a geologist there. It was kind of rough, like crappy hotels and being on site. But when
Right.
we were outside, like, as a professional, it was a good spot to be. I learned a lot. And then my wife was in France at the time, and this is how we get to Montreal, right? So
Okay.
she was studying French, and she got a job in DC. And so then I started applying. I got an environmental consulting job in DC as a geologist.
Nice.
It was great. It was like, that sort of like young professional lifestyle, like living in
Yeah.
the suburbs of DC,
Right.
fighting traffic, commuting. It was okay. I learned a lot there. Learned how to do like, consulting. Would still travel around a lot, but still doing geology. My wife was not pumped with her job, so she wanted to go back to school. So she went, and they had a program in Madison, Wisconsin called the PFMP, which I think just ended, but it's a professional French master's program. So she took her undergraduate degree and turned it into a master's, and it was like 1 year of coursework and 1 year of an internship, or 6 months of an internship. And so part of that internship is living in a French-speaking country.
Okay.
My company happened to be bought by a French-Canadian company, and I was like, can I just transfer there? And they were like, yeah.
What are the odds of that?
Crazy.
Wow. That's
Within
nuts.
that 1 year that we were
Yeah,
there, we
yeah.
got bought.
Yeah, the timing is insane.
Yeah. So we moved up to Montreal, and we were only supposed to be there for 6 months, but then my company wanted me to stay, her company wanted her to stay after the internship. So we stayed for a couple years. I was learning French at night because you had to if you want to get permanent residency, all this stuff.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, but so I was like working all day, and that's when I started training jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
I had played like rugby when I was in DC, but enough concussions, and I found
not about that life.
no,
Yeah.
not anymore. I'm not trying to get hit in the head at all. So I found jiu-jitsu up there. Bruno Fernandez runs Gracie Baja in Montreal.
Yep.
And he has like a really good connection to all the Danaher guys at Henzo's. So I was traveling a lot for work. I would go to New York, and I got to train in the Blue Basement a couple of times as a white belt. Yeah.
Did you get ringworm?
No, I got beat the fuck up. It was,
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that's what you do at white belt. You just get beat up.
Exactly.
And
Wow, what an experience though, dude.
yeah. So I ended up getting my blue belt from Bruno up there. And I always knew like then, like I'd known about Warren Stout, and like I know about Stout back then when I first started because I saw the Henzo connection. I was
Right.
like, Pittsburgh. If and when I'm in Pittsburgh,
That's the
and,
place. Yeah.
yeah, that's the spot. And whenever I would come back for the holidays, I would stop in Stout. So I think I'd seen all but like their very first gym that was like on Butler Street.
Nice.
And
That's cool, man.
I would pop in there and I would pop in the Mat Factory and get wrecked. And
As is tradition.
dude, I think I had been training jiu-jitsu for about 6 months, and Dempsey was in the UFC, and I recognized him. And Dom Mazzata and Isaac were like wrestling, and dude, they came like flying out of the doorway. And I was like, dude, these guys are fucking nuts. They just kept fighting on top of the shoes. And Dom's just laughing, dude. Like, these guys are
amazing.
These dudes are nuts. And then I rolled with Dempsey, and he was like so much pressure and so low to the ground. I got no frames. And I'm like, dude, how are you like so like tight, but also like so much pressure? You know, like I couldn't get anything in. And he's like, dude, I've been wrestling since I was like 6.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It's just like,
it's what I do.
it's easy.
Yeah.
This is easy. He tapped me out just with one hand, and I like was unmount. I'm like, I can't.
There's nothing I can do here.
Like,
this
that's
is terrible.
pretty humbling, man.
This is terrible for me.
Yeah.
That's most people's experiences rolling with Dempsey, though. To be fair, no shame in that.
Yeah, it was a great experience, and I love going back there. Or I did every time I would come home. You know, I would stop in at Stout, and I would stop in at the Mat Factory and roll on like a Sunday or something like that, and then, you know, travel back. So Montreal, I was at the point where I wasn't doing much geology, right? Like I was skipping out on work. I was just going to the gym at lunchtime. I was training like 6 days a week. It was so fun, but I wasn't like good mentally. You know, I was like struggling in an office environment. My friend Paul Kukler from Northern Virginia, he and his father had a restaurant for like 20 years, 30 years. And I talked to him. I was like, hey man, I'm sitting in the office. Like, let me put together a business plan to like start a restaurant.
Oh, wow.
I had no idea what I'm talking
Yeah,
about. No
yeah.
idea what I'm doing, but I'm like, I'm literally like fucking around at work.
Let me just try this.
Yeah. And actually, man, my buddy Max, I'm trying to think of Max's last name to have you like check him out. He's a black belt at Gracie Baja. He's one of the instructors. And he probably, I don't even know if he'll remember this, but I think I may have written him. We were like walking from the gym to somewhere one time, and he was like, hey man, he was like, you imagine like going to work every day and being like, dude, I don't like this. And like, this sucks. And I'm
you're
like,
just
dude, I do that all the time.
I can imagine that, actually.
He's like, how are you doing that?
Yeah.
And he was like, dude, like, you should just like not do it. And I'm like, oh, I guess I could. Just
Fair
not.
enough. Yeah.
Yeah. So that kind of is what sparked the thing, like sparked the change, you know. It was like Max inspired. I'm sure I told him that maybe at some point, but like if not, I'll look up Max and I'll send this to him afterward and be like, bro, like shout out
Like, Max.
He's the fucking man. They do like all the cold water training, like a lot of the guys around here do. Like he's been doing all the movement stuff and
that's killer.
Teaching kettlebells. He was swinging one of those like big maces.
The maces, yeah.
Dude, he's jacked. He played football at McGill in Montreal too.
Oh wow!
So he's a stud.
Nice.
He's a stud. Now he's a black belt.
Right.
So so I put together this business plan, and I meet up with one of my boys. His name's Bobby Kimball. He lives like right near here. And I was like, hey man, I'm like, will you look at this on paper? Like he's a finance guy.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, on paper, does this work? Like as a business plan? And he's like, yeah. And then I'm like, all right, cool. So like me and Paul are going to like meet up in Pittsburgh. I'm driving back from Montreal. Paul's going to drive up from DC. We're going to pitch you this idea in your office. And like, if you think investors would bite on it, we might run with it. Nice. He goes, yeah, this works on paper. He goes, but you have no experience. True. And so I'm like, true. He's like, what are you going to do? I'm like, run a restaurant. He's like, yeah, you have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah. So I was like, all right, well, Paul's like, don't quit your job. He's like, but if you can move back to the U.S. and go to a city or wherever, he's like, because working in a kitchen in Quebec is going to be even tougher because you're going to suck and not speak French. So we moved. Katie ended up getting a job at UW-Madison. So we moved back to Madison, Wisconsin. And Madison's a fucking cool town. It's really awesome. And also, Mark Plavkin is black belt in Madison. That's where I took my first jiu-jitsu class. His gym is called Twisted Fitness, and they're under Alliance. So he has this black belt from Jacare. Wow. And he did my first couple intro classes, but I was traveling a lot for work, and he was like, you need to do this like multiple times a week. You can't
Right.
just do like once a week,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
on the weekend. He was like, I don't even want to like take your money. He's like, but if your schedule ever settles down, let me know. And I reached out to him before we moved to Montreal, and he emailed me like a bunch of gyms, and he was like, it's, you know, he was like, just do jiu-jitsu. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
right.
Like whatever it takes. He was like, I don't care if it's at my gym. And then when I moved back from Montreal, Bruno said the same thing. He was like, it doesn't matter if it's a Gracie Baja or wherever. He's like, just keep doing
Just
jiu-jitsu.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I moved back to Madison, I went right to Mark's gym.
Nice.
Mark and Sonia, shout out. They're awesome. They it was like a upstairs of a gym called Ford's, which has a full boxing ring in there. And
Oh, wow.
like legit like pro boxers are fighting out
Nice.
of Madison in this little gym. Powerlifting, high level guys that were doing like strongman competitions and shit. And then upstairs is jiu-jitsu. And I'm like,
What a place.
yeah, what a place to not talk shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, yeah. You can't be bringing your bullshit into a place like that. Get humbled quickly, for
Very
sure.
good. Yeah, so you could like watch the guys spar while working, like warming up.
That's really
upstairs.
cool. Nice.
Yeah, there's some great young boxers out of there. So I trained there for a couple years when I moved back to Madison, and that's where I like quit my job. Quit
Right.
my job, took my friend Paul's advice: go into a restaurant, find the best restaurant you can. You're gonna suck. You're not gonna get paid shit, and just keep your head down, work really hard, and ask as many questions as a chef will answer for you.
Yeah.
So I started working for Tori Miller. He was a James Beard Award winner for Best Chef in the Midwest out of Madison. Beat out all these chefs in Chicago years ago doing
That's pretty
farm to
wild.
table.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, he's a real one for sure. And then also Johnny Hunter, who owned Underground Butcher.
Okay.
So when we lived in Madison, I used to go there, and I remember the first time I went in there, I was like, I'd never been into a real butcher shop since I was a kid in Vandergrift, going to like Del Vecchio's, which shout out Del
I
Vecchio's.
was going to say, that's a plug right there. Nice.
Yeah, Del Vecchio's and Fazio's, man. My mom and I used to go every day to one of the Italian stores, and Fazio's was like down the hill, and Del Vecchio's was up in the Heights, and they would like let you walk around the coolers, or I was a little
Sure,
kid, so.
sure.
But yeah, I'd never been in a butcher shop like that, since I was a kid. So they had a whole pig head in the case,
Hell yeah.
and I was like, "What do I do with that?" And they're like, "Well, we'll tell you." Like, I was like, "How much is it?" They're like $5 or $10 or something. And I'm like, "I'll do it." So I started cooking, and I started hanging out, buying stuff from there. So when I moved back to Madison, I emailed those guys. Michael Signorelli, he was the one who first taught me, got me in there, and like helped me break down, or allow me to come in and break down the first beef.
Sure.
I was just like a stage, which is in restaurants, like you're just like an intern, right?
Okay.
So unpaid for a couple, and then they would let me go do deliveries and stuff, and I would break down one day a week. And then with Tori, I was working in the back of his restaurant called Gray's in L'Etoile. They're in the same building, and the Jedi was their
Okay.
butcher in-house.
Nice.
So I would work with the Jedi a couple days a week. And then most of the week I was full-time at this restaurant called Estrion, which was also Tori Miller's. It was a Spanish tapas, real sick, like with all the like Spanish jamon and like paellas. It was such good food. It got like best new restaurant. So we were busy as hell there. I'm just like trying to consume and like absorb as much of this, knowledge as I can. My good buddy Jake Yet, he was the chef at Estrion at the time. We're still boys. Like, I love that guy.
Nice.
He taught me so much. Jamie Huang, also, like, yeah, just debt of gratitude to all of them. And then, so I was working in the bar at Estrion because Paul, my friend, was like, "Hey, you should really learn like the business, and if you're gonna open your own place, like, see where the money moves, see
Right.
how." He's like, "You're going to be good talking to customers and all that shit." And I did like bartending, but you drink too much. And then my brother passed away. So it was like a real shock in like 2017. And I was like, I got to go home. I got to
Yeah.
go back home. And I feel, I was drinking a lot, and I got out of the bar and started working full time at Underground. And Underground Butcher Shop, getting to interact with customers, breaking down meat. I was like, dude, this is something I want to do at home,
Mm-hmm.
the reason it's called Fat Butcher is my brother, he played football in college also. He played at Toledo. They beat Michigan one of the years that he was there. He still got the big poster in his
That's
bedroom.
insane.
Yeah,
Wow.
Toledo,
Nice.
Toledo won the MAC a couple years. Ron Gronkowski and Lance Moore, they were fucking loaded. Shout out Andrew Hawkins, dude.
That's a squad. Yeah.
They were fucking,
wow.
dude,
Nice.
they were sick. John Greco was my brother's roommate for a while. Hawk was one of his roommates. Greco played for the Browns for like 10 years. Like,
Right on.
They were huge, man. Those guys were awesome. So we
I
go
think
out.
like casual people don't understand what a big deal it is to stick in the NFL.
Yeah.
For any amount, like
Dude, the
the
shelf life.
worst guy
I mean-
in the NFL is 1% of the 1% that plays football.
I know, man.
People don't appreciate that.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Like, to not get hurt
Right.
right away.
Yeah.
Or all through college. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
I tore my MCL when I was in like a 1-year prep school out of high school. And like, I got no looks because we were at
Right.
Kiski anyways.
Right.
Kiski, we sucked. And, but like, you get one injury like that junior
That's
year,
it.
or like, you know, you're not getting any look. And like, so the same thing can happen to
Yep.
like any one of those guys. There's so many studs that are not playing football right now. You know?
Oh, exactly. Yeah, it's
It's-
terrible to see for various reasons too. But then you take a guy like Hasenauer to kind of loop around the conversation.
Yeah.
Most people in Pittsburgh be like, "Oh, he's a jag. He's a backup. He doesn't even play." Like, dude, you have no idea how good he is at football. Like, he's so elite.
Yeah. And there's so many of those guys like that, man. And like, yeah, dude, when fans talk shit, and like I mean, if you're,
Oh, it's wild, yeah.
it's insane.
It's wild.
You see those guys, and you're like, the amount of work they're doing. Now, I mean, there are like some like fat linemen that'll smoke cigarettes in the off season,
Sure,
and just be like,
of course.
whatever. I'm
Still
just
people.
a stud.
Yeah, there's still people.
Yeah, but like, I mean, some of those guys are just like naturally,
Oh, yeah.
ridiculous. Too,
Oh, yeah.
you know. And then some, like we were talking the other day about Chad. Remember, like Chad Johnson?
Oh, yeah.
like, eating McDonald's and stuff. He's still a
That's
stud.
it. That's still his diet to this day. Alleged. I don't know if that's an act or not, but I think it's legit.
I seen him in
think
the airport.
that's real.
I think it's real too. I
Yeah.
seen him in the airport one time, and he had McDonald's on him.
That's
and
beautiful.
I'm like, is that Ocho Cinco?
Is
and
that
we were like,
happening?
yeah. And I'm like, go on Twitter, and then like 10 minutes later, he posts like from a McDonald's.
Oh
Also,
my
I was like,
god.
he was eating McDonald's like I'm pretty sure it was like 2 a day. 2 a day.
That's
McDonald's.
dedication. 2 a day on the Mickey D's, man. Dude, it worked for him.
Yeah.
He was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So,
hang on. I got one question about the timeline. Because here's the part that I think people listening will be inspired by, I think. And I think also it's a valuable lesson for people in general in their careers. When you quit your job
yeah,
in Madison and went for it in the restaurant industry,
yeah.
you had no experience. Like, what made you think that you would even get hired? Because that's a crazy leap.
I don't know. I don't know what made me think I could get hired. I mean, I don't know, man. I think like, excuse me. I think just like anything else, like, and maybe I learned this by doing it, which is like, no matter what you do, you're gonna suck at it at first, and no matter what people are good at, they're good at it because they've worked at it for like a
Right.
really long time.
Right.
So like, you can get really good at something by doing it over and over, right? So I was like, well, I'll take the advice of someone who's done it, you know, and just at least, you know, I don't know, just go into it like with a questioning attitude, like, how do I do this better? You know, and
Right.
like having people that are willing to teach. But that now that I'm a business owner, I'm like starting to understand, you know, how nice it was for those people to spend that time, because
Right.
teaching also costs money. Like,
Sure.
you know, like all of every minute of your time is like valuable. And
Exactly. Energy, money. It's
yeah.
all of it. Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think I'm overly confident in general, you know, and like probably more confident than I should be in a lot of ways outside of like wrestling in high school. But
Sure.
yeah, just in general, I'm like, I don't know. I think my mom was just like, you could do whatever you
Yeah.
want, you know, and
That's super valuable, man. I mean, honestly, it's led you to where you are today
Yeah.
for sure. Like being willing to take that leap. That's why I wanted to dig into that, because
yeah,
you hear so many people in various jobs like, oh, I hate my job, I hate my life, and they feel like they can't change it. But like
Yeah.
changing it is always on the table if you're
Yeah.
willing to go for it.
yeah, and I mean, and you have to have a support. You have to have a support system
Exactly.
in place
Yep.
too. Like, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my wife, Katie, because like when we were in DC, she wasn't happy at her job. And she's like, I want to go and major in French and get a master's in French. And like my side is like, I'm like thinking, like, what are you thinking? Like, what are you going to do with that? You know, like
teach,
go like engineering or like, I don't know. I was like, and I was a little bit more worried about it at the time, but she was like, if I'm not happy, then what, you know, what's the point, you know? And so we've gone back and forth and like supported each other through this. So like when she went to grad school, I was still doing consulting.
That's awesome.
And then when we went to Montreal, I was still doing consulting. She was in grad school and then got a job. And then she got a job when we moved back to Madison. So like the budget was always like cut in half, right?
Yeah.
So it was like one of us could support the other, you know?
Yeah,
and we just live in little apartments, you know, neither of us are like, you see what I'm dressed like, dude? Like, I, you know, outside the fanny pack, it's probably the most expensive thing I got.
It's a nice ass fanny pack, though.
Yeah. So, I mean, we could just like get by with, you know, with less if you're just like smart about budgeting and stuff. But, like, you know, you had to learn that from somebody. So I like, you know, are lucky enough that she comes from a good family that taught her how to work hard. Both of her parents are ministers, so they never had much. You know, my father's a barber still.
Nice.
He still got the barber shop. My grandfather had a barber shop and 6 kids. My mom's a teacher. And, you know, like, you know, we worked and we played sports and, you know.
Had like, the fundamental values of hard work and everything.
Yeah. So I think I was lucky, you know, lucky to learn that and lucky to have, you know, have that confidence instilled in me.
Sure.
Like you can do whatever, you know, and like.
That's huge.
Yeah. So I think, you know, it's a combination of like being confident and like, you know, trying different stuff and being kind of good at it or not being good at it. And like, you know, but if you like it, then you'll keep doing it. And I think a lot of my friends are like raising their kids like this now. Like, I don't know if it was something that people did like as much, you know, in the past, which is like, just let your kids like whatever sport they want to do, like as long as they're into it and like they'll
let you know.
They'll let you know and they'll get better at it. It's weird though, like they do like all these travel sports. I don't know.
Oh, it's crazy nowadays.
They just play like baseball and they just like do that all year round now or something.
That's what it seems like. I don't have kids, but I have friends with kids and stuff, and I track it. And I'm like, I can't keep up with what your kid's doing right now. Like, especially if you're playing multiple sports, because then you're traveling all year. It's like, how are you maintaining your life while also parenting right now? I don't get it.
I know. I try and listen to them and just be like, all right, man. Like if they got kids, like I'm like, if I don't see you all the time, I'm not gonna like break your balls. Like right. I'm just like, okay, I get it. I think I get it.
Yeah.
You know, like,
I don't get it, but I get it. Yeah. I get that so. I don't get it. Yeah. But I want to pull back too because we got sidetracked with football talk. But talk about the name Fat Butcher Shop. You started to tell the story.
I did. Yeah. So my brother's name was Patrick, and whenever he went to college, I don't know how it started because you know how locker rooms are. Like, his nickname became Fat.
Okay.
So he was Fat Dawson.
Was he fat? Like, is it?
I mean, he was a left guard in college. He was,
fair.
He wasn't.
Got
he
you.
didn't have a 6-pack.
Yeah.
He had like a big afro, like big huge hair.
That's awesome.
Big curly hair. Yeah, it's crazy. So all his teammates called him Fat, and dude, he was the funniest. He was the funniest dude. I'll cry if I tell too many stories about him, but like he was the man out there. Everyone loved him, and it was like a term of endearment, you know, like it wasn't like you're fat, you know.
Exactly.
What I mean? And like I got friends, you know, I grew up like kind of fat as well, so like I get it all the time, right? And I'm like, I don't know, I'm like immune to it.
It's an honor now, yeah, right.
Yeah, so it's like with meat, right? So that was the way that I was like, I'm gonna honor his nickname.
That's so cool.
But also, it's like Fat Butcher isn't like the person who's fat; it's like the meat, like. The brisket. The brisket's the fatty piece of meat, and it has the fat is where the flavor is. Like fat is flavor.
Absolutely.
We got these pork chops from Wildham. Wildham is a farm like down near Deep Creek, Maryland, and the fat cap on them is huge, and the marbling is beautiful, and it has the skin on there. Like that fat is gold. We'll render it. You can use it to bake. You know, you can use it to fry stuff. Fallen Aspen Farm, same thing. They're like. Berkshire are great, but Berkshire crossed with our heritage breed pigs are even fatter, so they're better. You know?
Nice.
The beef is coming from Pasture Perfect. They are a farm up near Grove City, and they have a Black Angus that's like bred with some Scottish Highland. They're the ones with like the emo hair, you know,
Shaggy.
like
Yeah.
and they're like they're really
The
calm.
emo hair. I love that.
Yeah, like falls down.
Yeah, I
in
know
front of-
exactly what you mean. Yeah.
And when you go into their like barn, like you have to like lower your voice to keep the cows calm.
No way.
And it helps with the marbling and like, you know, the muscle development.
That's next level.
They don't get stressed, and they're fat, dude. There's a lot of
That's
fat
beautiful,
like, in
yeah.
the meat, marbled.
Wow.
And we use it all, you know. So like, it's about that. You know what I mean? That's what the name Fat Butcher is for.
That's
but, like,
awesome.
Those who know
I love
my
that.
brother and know me, like they know it's Pat.
Dude, that's
They
a
know it's
perfect
Pat.
story. I
Yeah,
love that.
thank
So transitioning into, I'm sorry if I mess up his name, but I think you said Tory Miller. Was that?
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
there a time when you started working that you were like, I made a mistake?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know if there was a time, but like there was tons of them. I sucked, dude. Man,
It's just such a wild transition. Like I'm trying to wrap my head around not only doing it, but pulling it off like you did.
Yeah, I remember going into the kitchen the first like couple nights, and I didn't know if I was gonna get a job because it's a stage, right? So you're working for free, or like you get staff meal and they'll take care of you. But I was just thinking like the only things I really knew was like don't be leaning. Like if you're leaning, you could be cleaning, right? Like that's like one of the
That's
kitchen
hilarious. I
phrases.
never heard that. I've never been in
I've never
formal
said
kitchen,
that to
so,
someone.
yeah.
So like, but I heard that before. So I would always like I would stand with my hands behind my back, like to not be like having my hands on shit. And I would just be like, do you need me to do something? Can I help you? And I would slowly watch people that were, so like a lot of times, like there's like different stations, right?
Okay.
So, like, you run a station,
Right.
and then there would be someone who would just like float.
Mm.
And the floater is that's like, you get to that position. You don't start out floating because you have to know ahead of time, like who is about to be in the weeds, like who's going to be in trouble.
Okay.
What can I get for them?
Right.
And like, by the time I left, I could float, you know,
That's awesome.
I could see something or like and I would watch these guys and be like, they're, you know, putting plates over here for someone. How does he know they need plates? And they're like, thanks, chef. You know, or like, thanks, bro. Like,
Nice.
and I'm like, okay, like this dude is helping everybody, like get him out of the weeds. And so the floaters, anyway, so I would just basically be standing in the way of everybody at first. And I'm like a bigger dude, so I'm taking up all this room in these like little kitchens and it's like behind hot, sharp behind her.
Yep.
And Tori, like he's a ball buster, dude. He would like shine like the heat lamp at me, and like the some of the cooks and like in the dishwashers and like other dudes like they would speak Spanish would call me Tortuga,
Nice.
which I didn't know what the fuck it meant, but it means like tortoise. Like,
Yeah,
you're so
yeah.
slow, dude. Or like burro, like a donkey.
Beautiful.
And I just get
It's beautiful.
dude, I just got ragged on. You get on like the worst station and you just get buried and you're doing desserts. And then I saw a couple people that like did it really, really well. And that was that moment. Cause I was like, dude, I'm never going to be that good. Like I'm never going to be as fast as Tommy
Right.
Cassetta. Like I'm never going to be as fast as Tori. I'm never going to be as fast as Jamie or Jake. Like those people crush, or Bolin, bro. Like a lot of these guys are just so fast. Their knife skills are nasty. I'm like, by the time I get to their level of proficiency in a kitchen, I'm going to be like 50 years old and I'm going to be so
Right.
slow. And I'm going to have 19-year-olds that are running circles around me. They're coming out of culinary
Been
school.
doing
killing
it their whole life. Yeah.
Dude, I'm like, I'm never going to be able to do it. And my chef back then, her name was Desiree Nutt. Desi, she was so tough, dude. She was so tough on me. And she's who introduced me to our chef at at Fat Butcher right now, Jesse Barless. So Desi and Jesse were like best friends in culinary school. They're totally different from each other. But Desi was really tough on me, and she was like, "No, you can definitely do this in a couple years, and like you can get to a position where you're a chef in a few years." Like she gave me confidence.
That's really cool.
Yeah. But I don't think I wanted to be a chef as much as I wanted. You don't get that interaction with customers.
Right.
I like bartending, like, but I didn't like the idea of like ultimately starting a business to get people drunk. And I mean, you could do like craft cocktails, and I really like that part of it too. And I still like have weird concoctions at my house. Like I'll make you a weird like old fashioned, you know, and
Right
shit
on.
like that in my
I'll
house.
be over after this. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I'll batch up cocktails and bring them, you know, to a party. But I didn't want to like, if I was thinking about a business that I wanted to like run myself, like I didn't want to be in a bar every day. I knew
Sure.
I just being at the bar, being behind the bar, I'm
Right.
like, I don't think I can handle this. I will get fucked up every day.
It's a different
Like,
level for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
just being constantly surrounded by it, and then the stress of doing so makes you want to drink. I'm sure,
dude. Yeah.
so it's
Just-
like,
Dude, the friends and family night the other night, I didn't. Oh, dude, yeah, I got fucked up. Like, it was so fun though. It was like a fun party,
Right,
and
right.
like the crash the next day was so rough. But like, I was cutting those, cutting those rib loins in front of Hassenauer, and like,
That's so sick.
and all my cousins and shit, and like my uncles are telling me like, oh, you need a different saw blade. They're just all breaking my
yeah,
balls.
right.
I'm having a great time, and a butcher next to me, Adam Harvey. It's like, dude, why don't we have beers in our hands right now? And I was like,
Great
good call.
point.
Someone please give me a beer before I get to the bottom of this. And then from there it was just like
Game on.
I will party
Sure.
all night. And like we were there at 2 a.m, like chopping up salamis and
Sounds like a euphemism, but like literally, we were chopping up salamis.
and drinking bourbon at like 2 a.m. with my buddy Bobby. Yeah.
Nice. We got the air.
What the hell?
Just Danny. I love that he hasn't experienced any of the sounds yet. That was his. So yeah, we got like a little soundboard over there.
Yeah,
too.
don't give you too much room to work over there. I'll just ramble. Like,
It's a good thing, dude. That's the beauty of having the podcast set up like this. Is like we're not live, we're not on a time schedule. Like whatever we want to talk about, we can go there, and if it doesn't work, we can edit it out. But
gotcha.
yeah, I mean, so far so good.
Cool.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I figured you wouldn't mind if I just like rambled.
That's what I wanted because
Okay,
like
good.
when I was like, obviously I knew about you a little bit from Paul and from Stout and stuff, and,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I watched Fat Butcher like on Instagram. I've been following you guys and whatnot, but like me, like I said, being a meat guy in general, but there's a huge disconnect in my knowledge between like what I do and what you're doing now. So I had a billion questions about just the transition there.
Yeah.
Like-
yeah. If they're specific, yeah. Ask
Yeah,
away,
like when you got into restaurants in general, which we talked about a lot, was your goal? What was your goal at that time? Did you want to become a chef, like a executive chef? Did you just want to be involved in the restaurant business? Like, what was the goal to start?
I don't know, man. I think it was.
Dude, you wung it so hard. It's cracking me up. Like, let me just get in here with this James Beard.
I mean, I was like, we wanted to move back to the U.S., and I was like, I always have that geology background as like
A fallback.
yeah, and I was like, if I don't like it in a year, like, and there was a couple of times like when I was like, I can't do this, I can't be a chef, and I was applying to like jobs in my old industry, but I was at that point where middle management, I took a leap that I didn't realize was like there was no net, like I couldn't get a job again, like I worked myself out after a couple of years.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was tough. Like when I was in Montreal, I was applying to, I want to say 20 to 50 jobs in environmental consulting a month. Like I was in my office. I would go duck away in like other offices to like take phone calls and stuff, and like I was trying to find another spot like in that field.
Wow.
And I was even gonna like take like multiple like steps backwards, but it's like it's hard to do it. That was one of those situations where it's like you're overqualified for
Right.
a field tech job, and like you've been working as a project manager, and I'm like, I want to make like 70 grand a year or something like that, and they're like, everyone's like, well, we're just gonna hire someone who's been at our company who like we don't have to retrain. And the industry took a dip too. Like my company in the US laid off like 15-20%. With those mergers and stuff comes like tons of redundancy. So like they start laying people off because the people that bought those companies want to get a return on their investment right away, right?
Sure.
So it wasn't, I thought I had a backup plan. So like when I took this leap, I was like, well, I always got that. But then once I didn't, I was like, all right, well, how do I make this work?
Right.
Right? Like, how do I, and I was like, I don't know if I really want to do it in Madison. Like, I love Madison. It's sick. It's a cool town. A lot of good friends still there. They're coming out to, hopefully, to the grand opening. I think my boy Drew Cathers 1-0 boxing, I think.
Nice.
Purple belt out of Rhode Island. Shout out. He's flying in for the grand opening, I believe,
Hell
next
yeah.
week. But Madison's a cool town, but I was like, I don't have roots here. And I'm so glad we're doing it here because there's so many dudes, like all my boys like that I grew up with that are still, some of them are still around here that could like help, and they have contacts.
That's so
and it's
good.
like, dude, you need to talk to this guy. Dude, Mike Wilkins
Yeah.
hooked me up. like just getting to know the guys at Stout, like those dudes, I knew I was going to start back at Stout like as soon as I
So good.
I was like, as soon as if and when I ever move back to Pittsburgh, that's the first thing I'm doing is signing up there.
Hell yeah.
And I didn't know Mike then, but he's the man. He's the best.
Yeah, Mike's the dude.
Yeah, his dad came and like helped talk me through some of the electric work for the shop because
so
our budget was all messed up. But
Yeah.
just having that sort of connection to like Pittsburgh and being able to like reach out to people that were friends of friends, being able to talk to like old dudes that are like, I remember my landlord, he's from New York, and he's like, yeah, there's all these like old yinzers and stuff, and I'm like, bro, like, I speak that language, like
This is what I do. Yeah.
Like I'm gonna be an old yinzer and like go here. You know? I just moved away for a while, so
It's inevitable. It's the transition for all of us. Like eventually you become an old yinzer.
Yeah, I meant to ask you too. Like, where are you from?
So I'm actually from South Central Pennsylvania, like outside Breezewood.
Okay.
Originally, that's where I grew up, like until college. Then I went to WVU, and my now wife went to Cal U, PA. It's called something else now. I forget.
Oh yeah, they're
that
like
was weird.
They're like Penn West or something.
Yeah,
shit.
something like that.
Yeah,
I don't even know, to be honest with you, but yeah, Penn West or something like that.
Yeah.
And then after college, we both just kind of fell into Pittsburgh region. Like we knew we wanted to be around Pittsburgh, so for the past 10 whatever years it is now.
Yeah.
Just here, yeah.
I love that spot. Like that region gets a bad rap because of Breezewood, having to drive through it.
Right.
But like all the areas in between the valleys and the mountains, so beautiful.
Oh, that's right where I grew up.
God.
Super rural. Fun fact about where I'm from, Fulton County.
Yeah.
There's more cows than people there.
Really?
Yeah, like literally more cows than people. So it's perfect if you ever want to open a branch of Fat Butcher. We got plenty of cows, dude.
Of cows.
Yeah.
How's the trout fishing out there?
Awesome.
I figured.
Good trout fishing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean all that stuff. I grew up a country boy for sure.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I love the city life now.
Yeah.
Like you won't really catch me doing the country stuff, but
Yeah. You still go for trout season? You still go?
I haven't been in several years, man.
Me
Yeah,
neither.
several years.
I was so pumped to come back home and like hit first day of trout. Because I would buy like an out-of-state license, maybe even fly back to go up to camp, right?
Nice.
So we would go up to like, I had a camp near Ridgeway, PA, and in Elk County, and then my dad sold it, and then my buddy Pat has a camp in it's in Jefferson County, right in what the hell is the name of the creek right by him? I'm gonna forget.
I'm not gonna know it. Yeah.
But Cather's Run. So I went up there, and then when I came back this time, the last year, there was an auction for like a butcher shop that closed down in Mariana, PA, and they scheduled the auction for the first day of trout. I don't know if you ever driven down past like Washington, PA, down through there, Washington County.
Brutal.
Beautiful trout streams. And I'm driving down in a fucking U-Haul, so mad, going like, I should be fucking fishing. I gotta go pick up a fucking freezer. Like,
Oh, that's brutal. Worth
Yeah.
it though. Ultimately worth
we
it.
saved some money on the budget,
Yeah.
and we're all right. So we're able to open with some used equipment and stuff.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Looks like you guys are having a good time here, man.
This is
You're missing
awesome.
out on the party. There's meat and there's yeah, I know. There were
so
sandwiches. And,
Yeah.
Did you try the sandwich?
I didn't. I mean, I tried the meat off. He gave me a little piece of meat, but that was good.
You want me to slice?
But
some
did
of
he
this?
also let you try the sandwich?
You didn't try the same?
He's just being a jerk.
He just said Paul gave him a piece of meat. I wasn't sure if that was the sandwich. Or...
Oh, I got you.
That's
I
where
was
his
looking
mind
behind
goes all the time when he talks
Constantly.
about guys and meat.
that. Yeah.
Definitely.
He thinks differently than me. I think about like this.
You got more kitchen experience than you know. Fit right in.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude, I want to ask about the knife too, because I respect a guy who brings a giant chef's knife with him everywhere he goes.
I don't bring it everywhere I go, but I do have like a towel in the car that you
Yeah, the
normally
little
have.
knife
What's
roll.
the like red drippy stuff from it?
What's that? What drippy stuff?
I mean, just like the
on here.
like the trail you had coming in of like drippy wet red.
Just
I'm making a joke.
Oh Jesus! Oh Jesus!
like
Christ.
blood. Like
I got you. I was like, man, what is dripping? I'm like, dude, I mean, that sandwich might have been kind of greasy, but I was like, I hope it wasn't dripping through the bag like a, you know,
look at that
like some
thing.
wings. This is
little
a sick one.
hammered.
where'd Paul's head go?
Yeah, this is nice. I just got this. This one I bought for myself from Chef Knives to Go. It's nothing too crazy, to be honest. It's a light Japanese style with the Tokyo handle. It's pretty tight though. It's like got that hammered Damascus.
Yeah, the hammered Damascus is an absolute look. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
I got that one for myself, and then
Sick.
a couple of my buddies bought me a few really nice, a chef knife and a slicer.
Nice.
I just grabbed this because it was on top of my knife roll from under the table, but we've got
That's gorgeous.
yeah, it's a smooth one, man. It's pretty fast.
Who makes it?
I can't remember the name. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, it's too tempting.
I was trying
sitting-
to-
It's too tempting.
Right.
Sitting next to Hunter.
I was trying to get you a sponsorship there with the brand, and now the brand's like, oh, he doesn't even know who we are. But
Well, chef knives to go. I know.
there we go.
Every chef I know buys their chef knives there.
Very
because
nice.
It's, yeah, they got good deals on.
Did you warn him about the table?
Is it should I not? Okay,
He'll be all right.
I'm not
He'll be
gonna
all
go
right.
through the paper.
All right.
The knife probably costs more than the table.
I won't.
No.
So this was from that's from Madison,
Thanks, dude.
Wisconsin. Those guys are doing really good stuff at Underground Meat still. So Underground Butcher was where I was working. That place closed in 2019, unfortunately, but they're still doing salami and whole muscle cures and stuff, similar to what Justin Severino's doing in at Salty Pork Bits. We got to get some stuff from them too. I'm a big fan of their products as well. But Allie Christian is our sort of like FOH front house manager. She's got that Wisconsin connection. Her roots are deep there. And,
Yeah.
was just out there for Charlie, who's one of the guys who runs Underground Meat's wedding a couple weeks ago. So we were like, we definitely need to get Underground products in here.
That's really cool that you kept it.
Yeah,
Brought it back
We got some good cheese from Wisconsin, and this goes
as you must.
as well with it as anything else. So
It
that's
seems like that Pittsburgh life is focusing around food and beverage.
That's pretty much what it's turned
I mean,
into.
we have
Yeah.
food this time, and then last time with Cody
We
Sable,
drank a bunch of local beer.
There
Yeah.
was local beer just went down. Like, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, we had-
where what brewery?
We had Helltown that
Yeah.
day because right down the road there's a little drive-through thing,
Yeah,
and Ryan was like, "Why don't you go snag some local beer?" I was like, "All right." So I went in and asked what they had, and they're like, "We pretty much only have Helltown," which isn't a slight to Helltown. It's still very good, but
Yeah.
like they didn't have the best local stuff. Actually, I brought some today. Should we get that?
I mean,
I'd love one.
there's
All right.
enough for all three of us.
All right, I'll run and get that.
The we're gonna do a sausage with Necromancer Brewing. They're like up in the North Hills, like not far. And the other brewery that's pretty close to us in Lawrenceville is Coven.
Okay.
They're definitely some like organic chemists working in that place.
It just seems
really
like there's
smart.
the local brew scene. Like there's too many at this point. Like
Yeah.
the good ones are gonna rise to the top, and the ones that aren't as good.
Yeah. I
There's
mean, I
just
don't know.
it's flooded.
I wish I had a better palate for like good beers. You know, like I'll drink like Old German or something or Hams.
So what? Like if you just have like what's in your fridge right now? Like
There's Icy Light. Actually, in my beer fridge in my basement it's been sitting there frozen. It's free beers. It's Paps. It's Hams.
Yeah.
There might be a Modelo. There might be a couple like random good ones. My wife will drink like a couple good like IPAs from time to time, but
see my fridge stays filled with beer, but anytime IPAs get in there, those are the ones that disappear.
those are the ones you grab.
I mean, not only me, but like they seem like those are the ones that like
people
just seem to disappear quickly.
really?
The trees.
So I grabbed some Brew Gentleman. out
Did
of
you give
Braddock.
one to Raul?
I asked him. He didn't want one.
Oh, really?
Braddock, what up?
Do I
Shout out Braddock.
Yeah.
represent? Is that Paul in there? Did he say something?
The other brewery we worked with so far was Hop Farm. We made
Oh, right on.
Oktoberfest beer brought with them. But
They're awesome.
salute, guys.
Cheers,
Thanks for having
fellas.
me down.
Yeah, for sure.
Gentlemen.
Man. Thanks for coming, bringing meats and everything. That was super kind of you. Sorry we're on like crazy diets right now.
Oh, we can't.
I know we can't have this, but
I didn't even think about that.
but when in Rome, and you know,
I
good,
can't have all
good
three of
vibes
them.
are
How mu-
fun. Yeah,
How many carbs is this?
too many.
Dude, it's like 20. You'll be like,
Oh,
it's probably like 8.
I rode the Peloton this morning. I'm gonna have to hit it again tonight after this. This is my
I
punishment.
literally
Oh, yeah,
didn't
so
even
good.
think
Pretty
about
damn
it.
good.
Brew
Yeah.
Gentleman's so good.
Yeah, Brew Gentleman. I haven't had this one before, but it's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can definitely taste the spruce. It's a very wintry IPA for sure.
You can
It's like
taste the
Christmas.
carbs too.
You can definitely taste the carbs. No
So
doubt.
do you train as well?
I mean, no.
Okay.
That's
All right.
I've gone. My knee was really bad, and it's
Yeah.
just finally starting to get a little better.
Yeah.
But dude, I tried training, and it was just like making it worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
And I'd sit out and stuff. He'd say, "Oh, like don't worry about it." Like, and
Yeah.
I don't know. It was
Yeah,
just it was really painful. That being said,
Yeah.
I would like to see. I would like to do Muay Thai more than Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
Stout's opening right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I know. I was just talking to Zach. He said he's going to be down here like half the time now. I'm like, bro, no way.
Yeah, I'm stoked about that because I asked Wilkins if Zach was going to be available to fight in December on
Yeah.
our December card, and he was like, "No, unfortunately, Zach's going to be manning the new Bridgeville location to help get that up and running and started. So he's
Yeah.
not like they want him on the business side, not the fighting side right now."
I saw you just had
Disappointing.
Who'd you just
But
have
awesome.
on Monday?
Siebert, yeah,
Siebert?
Lucas Siebert, yeah.
Yeah, who's he fighting? Who's that dude he's fighting?
He's fighting some 4-0 guy, not for us, out in Indiana. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not
Alright.
sure who that guy is.
Yeah, I
That's
asked.
that's a wild matchup for sure.
Is it?
Yeah.
I didn't see. I talked to Will. He said he may have seen like a couple of highlights of that guy, but
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I know literally nothing about the opponent.
Yeah, I seen Siebert. So like, I started substitute coaching because I don't know. I think it's like part of like the jiu-jitsu is if you can coach a little bit, it will start to like make more sense in your own head, right?
That's what everybody says. Yeah,
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and I'm like, I will be like fat and lazy and play half guard like all day and just go to open mats and and pressure pass and shit. But like, if I'm not teaching some of the different stuff, then like I might not do it, and
Right.
and I won't. It won't incentivize me to learn it as much. So yeah, I started working a lot with Vince and Paul, and then as Vince was teaching Paul stuff, and I talked to Vince and told him like I want to start like coaching. He and Logan and Mike would let me like sort of shadow him.
Right.
And that's where I think I met you.
Yeah, I was
Just
gonna
one of
say
those
you
classes.
at one of the classes I was at, you were teaching.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And so
I didn't know that was you, by the way, until like I connected the
until you-
dots and
yeah,
looked
yeah.
on your. I was like, oh, it's that guy.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god.
I was like,
Nice.
I knew
Yeah.
who you were. Yeah, for
That's-
sure.
that's
I remember.
funny.
I remember
Yeah.
when Paul or someone introduced
You
us.
can't forget it, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
There you go.
But Siebert, I was teaching a class the other day, and like, you get wrestlers in there all the time, right? Like, there was some dude I was rolling with the other day, and like, as soon as I roll with him, I'm like, where are you wrestling at? He's
Yeah,
like, I'm
yeah.
a D2 wrestler from like Rochester or something. I'm like,
Sure.
I could tell.
Yep.
But that dude he was just in like a Wednesday fundamentals class. And then afterwards, open mat. And I don't even think I talked to him during the class or anything, but like during the open mat, I saw him moving and I'm like, dude, who the hell is this kid? And I can't remember what he was doing, but he was so like relaxed, so flowy. And he's like a sponge too. He's just asking a lot of questions and like getting it right away. And I'm like, so I saw him rolling after and I'm like, where'd you wrestle at?
Yeah.
And so he told me, and then he mentioned that he had fought on the same card as Zach, and I was like, oh, I remember him now.
Yep.
Like, he was so fun to watch. Like, he
Yes.
was like look off, like throwing
Yep.
shots.
Yep.
And then he won his last one too.
Yep.
Like, man,
It's
that dude's a
hilarious.
fun one to watch, man.
Hilarious that you describe him that way because that's exactly our impressions of him as a fighter in MMA. He's just insanely relaxed. Like you don't see guys with. He made his debut for us, like an amateur debut. You don't see an amateur debut that looks that comfortable. Everybody at the core is nervous about getting into a fight, right?
Yeah.
Like no matter how well prepared you are, you got to
Can't
go get in
imagine.
a fight.
I can't imagine.
Siebert
yeah.
legit did not care. Like I've never seen somebody just like, this is what I do.
That's
It's
great.
like, man, that's
great.
wild.
Yeah, it's fun to watch too. Zach was pretty chill.
Oh yeah, Zach's amazing.
Zach was chill. I immediately was breaking his balls the next day where I was like, dude, I'm like, we're doing snap down guillotine defense. Like, we're gonna get you over here. But I mean, he was obviously he was pretty comfortable.
Yeah,
in all that
yeah.
whole
I
fight.
mean, he looked good the whole fight. I just thought
did.
it was funny because I thought Zach was like Muay Thai instructor, like really into Muay Thai.
Yeah.
And then he came and just wrestled the whole time. I'm like, what was that? Like, I thought you were going to be a striker.
He had a Muay Thai fight recently too. He said it was the first time where he was like, he felt comfortable enough to sort of like plan and like set up. Like,
Oh, nice.
He was like, I'm really starting to feel a little bit more confident and land the shots that like I've been practicing.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I don't know anything about striking other than during the pandemic, my boy Drew and I like started hitting mitts.
Nice.
And then I would go into the gym and I have a pair of boxing gloves and like me, Vince, and Paul were like hitting mitts and
That's
dude,
funny.
I suck so bad at it, right? Like, and Vince is just brutal. I think it comes like
Vince is good.
Vince
in general,
is so
yeah.
good. He's
super
so
talented.
good. He's very good teaching. Very good at teaching. He's good at everything. Dude.
Right.
I talked to a guy who like shoots like pistols and stuff, and he's like, dude, Vince goes out on the range and like shows up people.
He's just one of those guys.
He's just one of those guys. Like,
Yeah.
whatever. We were playing hoops.
It's like obnoxious, right?
Yeah.
Like,
he's good at
Vince,
everything.
stop, dude,
And
please.
I know, and then you don't want to tell him because he'll let you know too.
oh, he's a talker.
Oh,
Nice.
dude, yeah.
Nice.
It all
Nice.
comes from Wilkins. I blame Wilkins for everything. Everyone that talks shit and stuff is from Wilkins down. It goes Wilkins and then Vince. Vince is just as bad as Mike. And then Christian is the next one.
Nice.
Christian coming up is
Yep.
already talking shit. And I'm
That's
like, dude, what
funny.
are you guys doing to this kid? Don't
How
make him
old
do
is
that.
he? He's super young, right?
I think he's 19.
Yeah. Okay, that's
Yeah.
what I would have guessed. Yeah. 18.
No, 18. I think he's 18
Well.
because I remember rolling with him at in Monroeville.
Okay.
And like they were like, this dude's 16, I think. And it was like, yeah, probably like 2020. And they're like, this dude's 16. And I like grabbed his legs. I'm like, oh, I just bend you all these different directions. You're fine.
You're good.
I'm like,
Yeah.
you're a 16-year-old. You're
Yeah.
all right.
Yep.
Yeah. But now he's like, I'm like Christian. I'm like, come out here, roll quick like no-gi round and like hit me with a couple leg locks like that I never even saw coming.
Wow.
And dude, he's like, not that I'm letting him do it. I'm
Right.
I'm just like watching.
He
as
thought you were.
No, like yeah.
He's like,
yeah.
he's letting me do this. No, I was actually,
No,
I
I
was
tried.
trying my hardest,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, I'm trying to see that leg lock game, like, cause you got it, and I'm like,
It's part of
how
it.
do I
yeah.
avoid it? I don't think there is an avoiding the leg lock game.
Dude, like as a spectator, I don't like it, honestly. Like when I watch a jiu-jitsu match that
Yeah.
turns into a leg lock battle, it just maybe because I'm not into it enough. Like I don't
Yeah.
train enough, whatever it might be.
Yeah,
It's like-
you're not cool and you're
Yeah.
not jits enough.
I just don't like it. Like Gordon Ryan at ADCC with Nicky
Yeah.
Rod when he took it,
Yeah.
like just heel hooked him immediately. I'm like,
Yeah.
Gordon Ryan could do that to everybody on earth, probably.
Right.
I think he even got bored with heel hooks. He's like, I'm just gonna stop heel hooking
Yeah,
everybody.
and he started pressure passing.
Exactly.
Just like mounted armbar.
Yeah.
He's just playing
sick.
around.
Exactly.
It's all practice for him.
Yeah.
He's like competing against himself. Like,
Honestly.
can I beat this guy this
Yeah.
way instead of the way that I
Exactly.
could easier?
I mean,
Yeah.
he literally like predicted that finish at who's number one or whatever it was, the triangle of
Yeah, when he
Wagner Rocha.
handed him like the note before
Yeah.
the match.
Do you know
like,
that
what a-
story, Ryan?
No.
Dude. So it was on Flow Grappling, and Gordon Ryan took a piece of paper to the commentators. It was folded up piece of paper. He said, "Open this when the match is over." And he triangles Wagner Rocha, and they open it. And it's just a picture of a triangle. Like he literally called it, and he could have finished him a lot before that. Like
So he let him
let him
like-
go just to set up the triangle.
Yeah.
Like that level doesn't make any sense, honestly.
There hasn't been somebody like that since like Hodger Gracie.
Yeah,
Hodger
right.
Gracie, I don't know how many world titles he won, but they were all cross collar choke from mount. He
Yep.
would go cross collar choke to armbar, cross collar choke to armbar. And whichever one you're not defending,
He's
that's
getting
one
the
you're
other
getting.
one. Yeah.
it's like, which one do you want?
Yeah.
You want an arm or the choke?
Choose your poison.
Brutal.
Yeah, man.
Totally
so like
different level.
I get that same kind of thing. Like I don't really like watching the leg lock stuff, but it's more from like a queasy, like someone's gonna get their
right.
shit torn.
Yeah. Did you
and,
see
like,
that kid?
spin the wrong way? Yeah, I heard. Yeah, I know.
This 16-year-old kid like just shredded this dude's
huge.
knee.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, he's giant.
Yeah,
There's this video going around. He just attacks a heel hook like violently,
yeah, and even
in seconds, the dude's knee is just gone.
yeah, I remember just there was like they changed the scheduling at Stout, and the Wednesday maybe morning or Thursday morning was like an advanced class, and there wasn't too many people in there, and it was mostly either Logan or Warren who was teaching it, and there was maybe like 10 of us, 5 of us sometimes, and they would follow the curriculum, or Warren would be like, "What do you guys want to learn?" And I remember at first I was like, "I want to learn leg locks from you guys." Like he's going up to New York, you know, he's training with Gary Tonin and stuff, and like,
wow,
I'm like, and you know, I'm like, can I like, I don't know, just basics, like if no one else cares, like, I'd like to learn a basic heel hook entry and like why I need to like pummel my feet inside and all this stuff. And I knew some of the basics, but then like the actual like finishing, the breaking, you know, position, like breaking mechanics and stuff, just getting to that position is very uncomfortable. Like when the person is setting up the heel hook, like they're almost like putting so much pressure on your knee that it hurts before they're even at a position where they can break. So like when I saw that kid break that dude's or break that guy's knee, it's like it was over before it, you know, before he even like really started. But like you can't tap fast enough.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of that, man. I'm really not. It seems, I don't know. It seems like it should be illegal to me. Like you just now put this guy on the sideline for a year.
Yeah.
When like a rear naked choke, get choked out, you'll be fine in 30 seconds.
Yeah, but
you know?
what about a Kimura?
Yeah, that's true.
You know, like,
that's true. Yeah, where do you draw the line then? Because an arm bar, even you could, you know, totally snap a dude's arm. So.
Yeah. Like, do you think you could break someone's like arm from top mount straight arm lock? Like if someone's laying on their back and they have their arm on the ground, like do you think you could get enough leverage to actually dislocate the elbow there?
Me? No.
We had this conversation.
Do you think you can? Do you think you can?
Do you think someone would tap to that in, I mean,
I don't think they would tap though. I don't think any respectable jiu-jitsu player would tap because they would assume they're not in
I don't know if you,
intense danger. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know if you could break it. But like going from that key lock or like Americana where they straighten it out and like
dude, I don't know.
Break it.
I don't know.
I don't know. But you could definitely like Kimura is snapping.
Yeah.
That'll break this bone. Like someone small could break that.
That's
bone
the
on me.
one. That's the submission. Like I think most subs, you can apply the pressure and control like whether you break it or not. I think the Kimura is the one where you crank it and
all of a sudden
it could
it's
break.
gone. Yeah.
Shoulders are scary, man.
But most of the time, most subs, like the person knows if they're doing it. Like you know when you're extending to like break.
Yeah, my coach in Madison, Mark, was like, if you have to like really like, you know, force it, like you didn't really have it or something like that. And I mean, maybe it was phrased more like a black belt would say it. So, but it was like, if you have to like crank on it or something, like you can't finish it with control, without using 100% of your effort. Like you didn't really
have it fully.
That makes sense.
Or
to
just
me,
just like think to try and make it better. So that like whenever you finish submissions, do it with like as least amount of energy as possible.
Right.
And like that should be. I mean, that's
always the goal, right? Yeah.
Well, so like I think of like old school UFC stuff. Like to me, there's no way that Frank Mir didn't know he's breaking Sylvia's arm.
Oh yeah,
he knew he was cranking hard enough to bust it.
Just
Frank has a bit of a reputation for that.
Well,
yeah.
So like,
didn't he break someone's in that like the mirror? He has a submission in it, the mirror lock, right?
Yeah.
I think didn't he break
Nogueira?
Yeah.
Nogueira, the Kimura, the classic that we just talked about. Yeah. Oh, that one's disgusting.
Yeah, that was pretty nasty.
That one's a little, to me, that's a little different though, because Nogueira is a black belt.
Oh, right.
And
he wasn't going to
could have tapped, and otherwise he wasn't going to. Whereas I think like Sylvia was never tapping either.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, he wasn't tapping once it was broken. So.
He wanted to keep fighting.
I know.
That was insane.
How about, I think Henzo had his arm broken like that as well. That was way back in the prime.
Oh, wow.
Sakuraba, I think he hit it standing. So, like, if you have someone that jumps onto, like, it may have been, like, from a single leg. I'm trying to remember it in my head. But, like, if someone jumps on a single leg and you go over, reach over and grab that Kimura, you can just sort of fall back and, like, send them.
I can picture that.
I think that he did it, and they went to the ground, and he just snapped it. And then, like, they still kept going, and, like, Henzo, like, got up, and his arm is just, like, hanging.
That's so brutal.
Yeah.
That was one of my first classes at Stout at the end, like during the roll session. Logan, he didn't yell at me, but he was like, "Hunter, you have to tap." Like I wasn't tapping to a Kimura because I was like, I'm fine. I feel like I'm fine. Like I'm fighting it.
Well, if you
And
don't,
Logan's
it
like, dude,
breaks.
tap, please.
Yeah. They
If
made
you're
a
not
point to
getting
that.
out, you're
Yeah.
tapping.
No, and I clearly wasn't going to get out.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. Like Warren made it a point to mention that after like someone was teaching the class to like not even like go for Kimuras for like beginners or like if the person has your arm like behind your back, like tap before you feel pressure.
Yeah, that was definitely learning for me because I was like, I wasn't even trying to be tough guy or anything like that. I was just like, I genuinely don't feel like my arm is in danger.
So this is so easy for me to say as someone who isn't in the cage or competing, but like I have this thing where like when you're a pro and you're in a choke,
Yeah.
like go to sleep. And that's so easy for this D-bag like promoter to say. But I've seen too many times where guys totally lose control, like lose where they are in the round, and there's like literally people tapping with 1 second left, and like if you wouldn't have tapped, you would have gone to the next round and you'd been standing. Like,
Oh man, yeah.
so I just have this thing where like too many people have gotten saved by the bell or like not thought they were getting out and got out. Like I get it, amateurs, like yes,
Yeah.
tap, but
Yeah.
like I don't know.
So I would just say like as a non-pro, but some chokes like really fucking hurt, right? So like some chokes are like a blood choke where you're actually like strangling the person, and then some of them are like absolutely crushing your windpipe and hurts real bad. And I mean, guys that are MMA fighters are probably like still not going to tap to that, but you can also like break your neck. Like you can get your neck cranked. Like, dude, once you're out,
That's why I'm saying it's like, yeah, you don't tap like, as I sit here
I'm just saying, like,
Ryan, don't tap, bro.
and not get choked.
Some of them, like especially guillotines. Some of those guys that didn't like
dude,
that
vicious guillotine.
Yeah, vicious guillotines where like you see like the back of the dude's neck. Above
Dan
it.
Miller. Dan Miller,
Well, just
dude.
Josh Fremd.
Oh, yeah, that Josh Fremd one was sick, too.
Dude, did you
Yeah.
see? You know Josh? So Josh is from Pittsburgh. Well, he's from Uniontown. Like he grew up like training down at the academy down there with those guys, and then he moved out to Colorado to like chase the dream. And he's in the UFC now, and he got this vicious.
That was disgusting.
I mean, it was a vicious joke, and like it was one of the grossest. Like it was hard to watch, but despite like even if I didn't know him, it was hard to watch. Like people's comments were, "Oh man!" Like his neck was. It was like
Danny, hit escape on that and pull up on YouTube the Dan Miller IFL guillotine. That should pull it up.
I think from the time I was a white belt, I would think of a choke as a choke, like a triangle choke especially, right? And the way you get out of a triangle choke is to keep posture and not get caught in it, right? But like I was like
double click on it.
No, this is his monitor, so he has to try to see it from back there.
it must be so small. You need
See what the hell I'm doing.
you need binoculars, dude.
Here, hand me the mouse pad. Maybe I can help you.
This is hilarious.
We did not.
You do the
plan this out at
typing.
all.
You do
Yeah.
the typing, and I will do the mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think maybe some of those chokes you're thinking of, like I don't know. I mean, I'm sure. some
I've
of them
seen
were a lot
some
of
rear
blood
naked
chokes.
chokes where guys are tapping out, and
True,
I'm like,
true.
you should not like keep fighting hands, and like you're
And
not.
then maybe go to sleep.
You're like, if you go to sleep while you're fighting hands, like at least you went out kicking, and there's a chance that you don't know how much time's left, and then the bell's gonna save
And
you. And
you see a lot of those guys like they're disgusted because they're like, man, I had like 2 more seconds.
Yeah.
I could have held out, but like,
But
dude,
like I said, it's so easy when you're not the one who's like life is flashing before your eyes.
Right.
yeah, I can't
Definitely
imagine,
easier
like,
for us to say.
Who was that fight against?
I'm not sure. Just type in Dan Miller IFL guillotine. This is
Not VIFL,
It's all right. It'll still get it.
Wi-Fi.
This is the sickest guillotine I've ever seen.
yeah.
That's it, Dave.
Top
Phillips.
one?
Where we at? Where's the cursor?
2007.
Yeah.
Full screen it. Oh, nice clear. If you're like highly intoxicated.
Which we're getting there.
get-
Give us time. Give us time.
Here, you're drinking this too. 'Cause
Oh. You want me to gain weight and miss
You're
weight?
already
I see
off.
what's.
You're already off.
I know.
Which is dude from
I only took a
Uniontown?
sip.
No. This is Dan Miller. So it's Jim Miller's brother.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Jersey. What up?
This is hilarious. This whole lead-in. Is the fight actually on here?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Oh.
Is this the one you showed me before?
Probably. It is by far the nastiest guillotine.
So Dan Miller's. That's an armbar right there, bro.
Dan Miller is Jim's older brother.
Oh. What year is this? Oh my God, it's.
Oh God,
on.
dude. I think it said 2007. Bro, look at look at the
his
angle
neck,
of his
dude.
head. Dude,
Oh
dude.
my God, dude.
Dude, it looked like he had to
like
have
3
died.
necks.
Yeah, it looked like he had to be dead. Like, there's no way you can survive your head being at that angle.
How much time was left though?
Yeah, I don't know. That's good.
What's he doing?
Oh,
passing out like that.
Holy shit, dude.
Bro,
I've never seen that before.
I know. Me either.
Dude, that is the grossest guillotine.
No, he
I've
means
ever
he's never
seen.
seen that before.
I've never seen that clip before. That's the most disgusting guillotine I've ever seen.
Yeah. Dude,
Yeah.
it is an entirely different level.
Something to aspire to.
Fun fact after I look at this.
Look at
This
that.
is how it's
Look
done.
at this guy.
Look at that. I didn't even know those things existed.
So now, from now on,
The wireless just wireless everything.
oh yeah, those are awesome.
Yeah.
Those mouse keypads or
right.
mouse pad.
Trackpad. Magic
No, it's
trackpad.
yours. This is yours.
No, I know, but I want to finish the first one
So
first.
you got a two-fisted.
Yeah.
dude.
So a fun fact about that Dan Miller, it's not that fun, but we went camping. I used to work for Bleacher Report, and I covered MMA like UFC. We set up a camping trip with the Miller brothers and their dad. So we literally just went out into the woods, like no tents, nothing, just sleeping bag on the wood on the floor.
Where?
In New Jersey. They're from like Sparta,
yeah.
New Jersey.
Okay.
So it's like Woods, New Jersey, not
Yeah.
like New York City, New Jersey.
Yeah.
And they brew all their own beer. They make brandy. They're huge into meat, smoking meat. Like they just brought all this stuff
Dude,
out for
that's
us.
so cool
So
you
we're
got to
just
do
sitting
that.
around, literally getting hammered at a campfire with the Miller brothers.
Yeah.
And our cameraman, it was actually Parm. Parm was
Oh,
the
really?
cameraman. Yeah, he does some camera work for us now too. And we were sitting around talking. It inevitably turned.
Robo-Parm.
Yeah, Robo Parm. The conversation inevitably turned to that Dan Miller guillotine because like that it was. Probably
Wait, with the Millers, you bring up this guillotine.
Oh, of course, because obviously we were just talking about shit, and I was like,
Is
Dan, like,
this like all of you were intoxicated?
Oh,
Wait,
yeah.
Dan Miller
very.
is the one who hit the guillotine.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay, yeah.
we were like, did you think you killed him? Like,
Yeah, right.
because that was a
Did you hear?
very
Did he say
weird.
if he like heard it? Heard his
Yeah,
neck pop or
no,
anything?
not it. So he calls it a 5-finger guillotine, and he broke down the specific grip that he
Yeah.
uses for that, and I guess
What?
it's like something he does.
Yeah.
Why couldn't he have like demonstrated on you?
So Parm, all drunk, is like, I'll let you do it to me, bro. Show us how. And Dan's like, I'm not gonna do it to you. And Parm's like, no, seriously, man, just do it, just do it. And literally, they wouldn't do it. Like, thankfully, for Parm's safety, thankfully they weren't that intoxicated.
Yeah,
but
just pin you up against a tree and
yeah.
crank your neck.
But our camera guy was like, just do it. And I was like, are you insane right now?
Like, have you not seen the clips? Who did it in studio with someone and did it?
I saw John Jones choked somebody out
they
on a
used to do
radio
it
show
on,
one time.
They used to do it on Opie and Anthony.
Yes.
Those
You're
guys
right,
used to
you're
like
right.
choke. They would Jim Norton would let
Yes,
people choke
him out.
Yeah.
Who
Who you
would-
guys want to start that tradition?
There was the guy
Like a
from like
decent guillotine.
the Fonzie guy or someone like that.
Fonzie guy.
No, he like hosted a talk show and he got choked out by
I think
a
one of them
pro
got-
wrestler.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was a wrestler.
Hulk Hogan.
Yes, no.
Was it Hulk
No,
Hogan?
it wasn't. Who was it?
I don't know.
Dude, I know the clip you're talking
He like
about.
lifts
Yeah.
the guy up
Yes.
and then just drops him.
Yeah, and-
cracks his head.
Yes, he
Yeah,
got
it was
hurt.
vicious, dude.
Yeah. Dude,
Who
Tim
was-
Kennedy just did that to Steve-O on like a he like did a rear naked choke on him on like some on a stand while he was doing stand up and then just let him fall.
Why
and his
would you-
head just whaps up?
Because he's Steve O.
Why would you let a guy fall? Like somebody like Kennedy that's a legit black belt. Why would you just
I would yeah, I would
on hard ground? Like, what are you
he
thinking?
must who knows, man. Like
Yeah,
Steve-O
Steve-O might have
like,
requested that
yeah, he might have been like, dude, just let me drop it.
for
It'll
the
be funnier.
theatrics. Yeah, right.
Throw me down harder.
Yeah.
That's something Steve O. would do.
Absolutely.
trying to remember
He's
the,
sober now and still insane.
Yeah.
Like,
Did you ever watch that thing back in the day when where like when he got sober, I think, where he was like doing all the whippets and shit.
Dude, that is a really terrible documentary. I mean, it's well done,
Yeah,
but it's
I
just
didn't know
hard
you
to
could
watch.
do enough whippets to like blow your mind. I didn't even know that was a thing. I thought you just like
He's like talking to his dead mom all the time and stuff. I was like,
he thought
oh.
people
Wait,
were coming
so-
through the
Yeah,
wall
yeah.
and shit.
So
Yeah.
like, okay, I know that like the spray, like the first bit out of the whipped cream thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But then there's like little canisters, right, or
Right,
something
right.
like that.
Yeah, we used to
Yeah.
buy them at the strip club.
Not that.
We used to have
So
to
wait.
go to a strip club and get a canister and then a cracker and then put them in balloons.
That's wild.
And then you just suck the
Inhale
balloon
it.
like
Yeah, you just,
helium.
you'd like breathe in the balloon, then blow it back out, like breathe it a couple of times. But you could buy these like those big like party balloons that are like double the size, because so you could put like 2 or 3 of them in there. And this is what like
So you'd
evil
walk into
hippies
a
have.
party with a balloon.
You'd walk into a party with like a cracker and like a couple of balloons in a
Canister.
Bro, Steve's a vet. Listen to him breaking this
Yeah,
down.
like you have
Yeah,
a
dude.
you have a paper bag.
I don't know. Actually, I have one in my fanny pack. You want me to just show you?
Like once you
6 whippets in here at all
once you
times.
finish your 40 of Colt 45, you throw the whippets in that same bag.
Yeah. I think the dumbest,
That's
maybe the
awesome.
dumbest whippet thing we ever did was try and clear a bong with a whippet. So I could cloud up the bong and then do the whippet
Right.
into a balloon, and then put the balloon on the end and let that go, and it would blow the smoke into
So
it.
I guess I don't know what a bong. I don't really. I mean, I've done the. Well, I haven't. I've seen people do like the cut 2-liter bottle in a pitcher.
Oh, gravity bong. Yeah.
Okay, so those things. Well, you're not. That's not what you're talking about.
No, I was just talking about like a regular
Glass bong.
Glass bong. Yeah. And like you
So
put
like an extra large pipe,
an extra large pipe with a
but
little
with
bit of
water in it. Okay.
Yes.
So then you put the balloon on the end whenever the bong is full of weed smoke, and then you let it blow the whippet through. It doesn't really work that good.
So wait.
We gave it hell.
Yeah.
So how does the bong like hold in smoke?
Because it's like it's a big cylinder like this size, right?
Dude,
And so then,
well, you want a bong? I got a bong. No, I'm just kidding.
He got all serious for a second. He's like, "Are we gonna do this?
Yeah,
Are we
let's
doing
do
this?"
I was like, "Do you not know what a bong is?"
No, I really don't know, but I was playing it off like
gotcha,
like I
gotcha.
really know. Like, no, I don't. I mean, I've heard of them, but I
said like 6 different things in the same sentence. That
no,
was awesome.
no, I,
And then I'm supposed to not
That
be
was
confused.
awesome.
no. Yeah, you don't know me at all. Like I'm, but like I don't know what exactly you're talking about.
Okay.
So I don't know how the smoke stays in it.
Yeah,
But-
the smoke will stay in it until you stop inhaling it, right? And then it'll just be sitting in there.
Oh,
and
okay,
It's like,
okay,
it's
so
like
you stop-
stale smoke.
okay.
Yeah. So you inhale it until it's like cloudy inside the bong, and then it'll just like sort of sit in there.
Gotcha.
Would-
He's a
would
friend.
not-
He's
would
a.
not- that was nice. Nice
Oh, you
move.
guys are splitting it.
See, nice
enough.
guy.
You're off keto, bro.
So we have a weight loss challenge going on. We like briefly talked about it, but I don't think I gave you the full details.
Yeah.
So
Deets.
it's called the Fat Mactory Challenge.
Good name.
It was a total accident name.
Pretty good.
Our
It was
matchmaker
a
accidentally
slip
said
of the
it,
tongue.
and I was
Really?
like,
Someone
"Oh, we're
just said
going
that?
with that."
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
He,
good.
he was trying to say
That's how the best
Matt
names
Factory,
come
and he
about.
said Fat Factory, and we started
And I was
laughing.
like,
and
"Hey,
like,
that's
we
it."
should name that.
Yeah. So we always, we gained way too much weight this year. Like we just ate like crap.
Speak for yourself,
drank,
fatty.
like yeah. So, and fighters always miss weight, and we, off the record talk shit about it, and like, how can you be a professional missing weight, or how can you, show up?
Yeah.
And we're like, but we're saying this over wings and beer and fries and everything. And
Right,
I'm like, maybe it's hard. So I was like, our next event's December 17th. Weigh-ins are December 16th. I was like, let's set a goal today. It was like October 25th,
Yeah.
let's say. And on December 16th, we'll weigh in with the fighters.
Yeah.
Like we'll take our current weight, pick like the closest weight class or 2 if you're feeling ambitious, and say,
Yeah.
I'm going to hit this on December 16th.
Nice.
So that's what we're doing right now.
So yeah, how you guys doing?
Pretty well. Honestly,
How many people?
I'm right on
how
track.
many people are in it?
5.
Five.
Us 3, and then our matchmaker and our video digital intern. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a healthy challenge.
Yeah. So I started at 241.4,
Yeah.
and my goal is 205, light heavyweight.
Damn, nice.
Yeah. So
Dude,
I'm down to
that's-
226 right now already, though.
Yeah.
226.9 this morning.
Jeez.
So I'm on the move, bro. I am on the move.
Do you have steaks? Are there are consequences?
I've eaten plenty of
yeah.
steaks. Yes. It's
Yeah,
one of
no-
the few things I'm allowed to eat.
Yeah.
steak. Were you trying to go like full keto?
Yeah, I've gone
Have you done that before?
Until,
No,
yeah,
not like
I
this.
have actually.
You're out of
yeah.
ketosis.
I did it one time in the past when I was running Flow Combat at the time, and it was when Johnny Hendricks kept missing weight,
Yeah.
and it was like the same situation, which is why I wanted to do it.
Except it wasn't Fat Mactor.
Right. This name is way better. Yeah. But Johnny Hendricks actually called us out because we wrote in a media day for UFC. He was like, all you media people talk about us missing weight, but you guys couldn't do it. You're all there behind your keyboards.
I remember
fat.
this.
Yeah.
I remember
He
this.
literally called it out like that.
do remember that.
So I was working with Dwayne Finley at the time at Flow, and I was like,
Yeah.
let's do it then. He just called us out. Like
you did
now,
it then?
yeah. So I went keto then and lost like I didn't have to lose as much that time though.
Dude, right
You
around
weren't
that-
as much of a fat.
I wasn't as fat to
It
start.
was
yeah.
easier.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're younger, it's easier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's,
around-
he's still young though.
Yeah.
I'm 45 and he's
How old are you?
31.
31.
Yeah.
Right on. So yeah, it's definitely gonna get harder too.
Yeah.
I'm 41. So like
Nice.
around that same time, when Johnny Hendricks lost to GSP, that was when I was in Montreal, and I was
did he lose though?
I
I mean, in all
the record
like
shows it was.
when I
I'll tell you
watched
what,
the
in that
fight,
bar,
like I would. I think
he
we
got
should.
killed.
yeah. In Montreal, they were
Montreal?
sure.
Yeah, we were like 4 blocks from Centre Bell. It was
That was
wow,
nice.
dude. It was there was posters on. I was like, let me get one of those.
Oh,
I had
that's
my first
amazing.
jiu-jitsu tournament that morning. and then
Watching
went to
that
a bar that
live,
night.
I was 100% convinced that GSP lost.
Wow.
thought
I was
so,
like,
too.
I
It
was
was
like,
tight. It was tight.
It was a tight fight, but I started. I was bored as hell at work, right? And I loved MMA and started doing jiu-jitsu, so I fell in love with it all. And I started trying to write for MMA for
Nice.
this. It was it was called MMA Weekly.
I know that.
Yeah,
For sure.
and then there's a dude Edward something. He's like a reporter, still covers
Carvajal?
something Edwards maybe or Edwards
Jim
something.
Edwards.
Jim Edwards maybe. He's a British dude.
Yeah, that's him.
Okay,
He worked at Flow with me, actually.
Okay,
funny
so he
enough.
worked
Yeah.
at this MMA
Skinny
Weekly.
Jim, we called him because he weighed like 85 pounds, I think.
Yeah. So he was, I think, he was like an editor, I think, at
Nice.
MMA Weekly. And then I wrote one thing for, it was a couple of comedians. It was called like Punch Drunk Sports.
Okay.
I don't know if they still do the podcast, but it was Sam Tripoli and
Oh, wow.
Ari Shafir and a couple other people that were.
Some heavy hitters.
Well, yeah, I mean, I wrote one thing for him.
Still.
And they were like trying to get some web traffic.
That's
going, and
awesome,
I'm like,
yeah. I'll do
I'm
it.
like, I'll try and get into the Bell Center in Montreal if I can
Right.
like write a story. And they're like,
Right.
yeah, you can write. Like, we're not going to pay you anything. Like, no one's paying me.
Yeah, I just want the credential, bro.
I just want, I want to be able to say. Like,
Can
I
I
got
go
something
to
public.
have the best seats and go there for free?
That's
Yeah.
really what I was hoping for. I was like, I'll go. Can you get me in? And they're like, shut the fuck up. Dude.
Stop, dude.
Yeah, you get out of my Facebook Messenger. Like, I was like messaging these guys back.
Out my MySpace right now, bro.
Yeah, it was that long ago.
Get out my Facebook
Yeah.
Messenger.
That's hilarious.
Oh, but I interviewed, dude, our judo coach at Gracie Baja was Olivier Aubin-Mercier.
Yeah.
He I didn't know who the hell he was when I first got there, and it was the Red Basement in Montreal down on like Peel Street. It's old industrial building, and they were like, if you're gonna do jiu-jitsu, you should take a judo class too. And I'm like, all right, cool. And there was Olivier and this other dude that called him Judo John. They're both black belts.
It's a great name.
Olivier he was on the Olympic national judo like youth team. So like in high school in Canada, you can go and do like whatever sport you want as like part of your curriculum. And he did that like full time. So his judo is like, I mean, it's world class, right?
Right.
Like at a young age. And he taught those classes, and it was really fun. It was good part of like, it was good supplemental jiu-jitsu stuff. I learned some. I never got good at judo, but after class, like he'd be like shadow boxing. I'm like, who the fuck is this dude? Like, and all the guys at the gym were like, yeah, Olivier, like I think he's on The Ultimate Fighter.
Right.
Like he can't say anything because like they already filmed it and he's been gone for a few
Exactly.
weeks. But we think he might have made it to the finals.
Yeah.
And then I think he lost in the finals to another guy from Montreal or
I think
Quebec.
so. Was that Chad Laprise?
I
Was that
think
the
so.
Chad
Yeah,
Laprise
yeah,
year?
yeah, yeah. So those guys were both like,
I don't know how I remember that,
dude,
by the
that's
way.
sick. Yeah, yeah, Chad Laprise. And so Olivier, once he got into the UFC, had a pretty good record, and I was writing for one of those, I don't know, and I was like, dude, I know Olivier. And
That
they were
is
like, yeah,
insane,
go
dude.
up and like,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, he's our coach. like he wasn't coaching judo anymore at that time.
Sure.
He was fighting in the UFC, and he's up at TriStar, and like I could ride my bike, like it was like, I don't know, 20 blocks from my apartment.
Sure.
So I just rode my bike up there and met him at the gym. I walk into TriStar, and like GSP was like giving them a speech on the way out, and like
Wow.
walks out and was like, "What's up?" And I'm like, "Holy fuck,
Oh my
dude,
God,
it's GSP."
GSP.
Yeah. And then Faraz is in there like talking to the team, and I'm just like, "Holy fuck, I can't believe
Why
we're
am I
fucking
here right now? Yeah.
And I'm just like walking around like trying to like play it cool. And then Olivier and I talked for a while, and I wrote something about it, and it was, you know, probably not good, you know. But
Now I want to go find it. It's still,
Go
if
ahead
it's
and
on the
find it.
internet, it
It's
exists.
on there.
Yeah.
It's on there. I'm sure I like
Yeah.
tweeted about it like, you know, 10 years ago. I was pumped to write it, man. He was such a nice guy, and like we were joking around with like no-gi judo and stuff, and yeah, he was a really good coach. He and Judo John.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I think people underestimate, for the most part. You know, anybody in the game knows, but exactly how nice fighters are would blow the casual observer's mind, I think, because they think it's this mean, aggressive guy or girl
Yeah.
that's just out to hurt people. And it's like, actually, they're the least likely to hurt you in any other circumstance.
Yeah.
Like, they're the chillest people on earth because all day they're training, they're tired. Like, they don't want to fight you in the streets, actually. That's the
No, yeah.
last thing they want to do.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, you don't want to run into the 1%
Yeah.
10% of guys that
Right.
are absolutely
Exactly.
nuts.
Yeah.
But yeah, like 90% of them are
Sure.
just like, you know, it's so funny. Like I was talking to Vince and then and Will too,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't remember who the hell we were joking about making, you know, somebody like someone almost like was talking shit to Vince in a parking lot, and he's like,
Oof.
it'd be crazy to like let this guy just come at me and then I'll just slip. And
Yeah,
slip
just
and slip.
not even
It's
hit.
not
Just
gonna-
let him
just
understand how
like,
foolish he's being.
he's gonna be foolish
Yeah.
for about 30 seconds, and then he's gonna get clipped with a liver shot or something, or like, you know, hitting the belly and just be like, I shouldn't have done that.
Dude.
Like even then, I don't even know how bad those guys would hurt. You know, someone who was like swinging on him.
Yeah, it would be terrible. Like I just heard Joe Rogan telling a story about, oh man, who was it? Oh, he was with Leon Edwards somewhere.
Yeah.
And somebody started talking shit to Leon Edwards. Didn't know who he was at all.
Yeah.
Some drunk guy.
Yeah.
And Joe Rogan literally was like, I had to intervene and say, sir, you are about to make a critical mistake here. Like,
Yeah.
trust me on this one.
Yeah.
And that,
Yeah. I mean, Masvidal would probably swing, but like
That's-
Leon Edwards might be one of those nice guys. You know,
yeah, just let it go, diffuse the situation
Yeah.
as long as possible. Yeah.
Masvidal seems like he's the 1 out of 10.
Yeah. He's as real as it gets, I think, in that capacity. Like you
Yeah.
just
On site.
don't approach him with that. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, on site, like you said.
Yeah.
That's crazy, dude. And those guys, it's such a different level. Like we went when I was with Flo again, we did a lot of these road trip series.
Mm-hmm.
So we would go to the fighters' gyms and houses, and even like if they would invite us to their house, obviously take them up on that offer and just hang out with them for a while. Like it was very non-traditional reporting.
Yeah.
More like, I don't know what you call it, like Hunter S. Thompson, like Gonzo style reporting or
Cool.
whatever.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was some of the best experiences of my professional life for sure. So we were actually staying with Cub Swanson one day at his house.
Yeah.
And he was demonstrating like a new liver kick that he was working on with me. And dude, it was 2% speed. Like
Yeah.
it was the slow, and still I was like, bro, like don't do that. Like
Yeah.
that hurt.
Yeah.
It was
I know.
so good. It was like a front kick almost, but he got
Like
the
a
liver
teep.
with his toes. Yeah, it was
Oh.
like a teep, but the toes and like the ball of the
He's
foot, I
kicking
guess.
your liver from the front.
I'm like, bro, that is not comfortable at
Yeah.
all. And I know you're not even trying. So like the people who don't understand or train are just, they're in for such a shock.
Yeah. I luckily to be around enough of those guys to know how much I don't know, and like,
Right.
and I,
But
you
even
know,
you would completely wreck the average dude.
if I mean,
Yeah.
it's one of those, it's one of those things like, that I knew in high school, messing with the wrestlers. It's like, if you hit me, like, you better knock me out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
unless you're obviously like a fighter or something like that.
Sure.
But like, yeah, I saw those fights happen with like our wrestling team at Kiski was like up there with Burl, like up there with Burl wrestling.
Nice.
Back then, I think Burl has sort of like gained so much like more.
Shout out
momentum.
Isaac Greeley.
Holy fuck, yeah, whatever they're doing down there. Like, but Kiski is also a wrestling like institution, and like I saw a couple of those guys get into like street fights and stuff, and it's like I knew from an early age like you don't want to get into a fight with a wrestler, and those guys would just be standing there like not really talking shit, and they're like yeah, maybe you'll knock me out, you know. But they're like, you better knock me out if you
better
hit me.
do that.
You better knock
Yeah.
me out if you hit me, because if you don't and I get a hold of you,
It's done.
it's gonna be your worst day. And I was always afraid of that, man. And like, so yeah, I think knowing jiu-jitsu kind of relieves a little bit of that, you know. But yeah, I kind of think the same way. If someone like average dude at a bar or something like that, like swings, and like, I'm pretty sure I can take him down and hold him down, and at least like,
Yeah,
you
they
know,
wouldn't have a chance, dude.
they're not gonna.
No way.
Probably not. Yeah, unless they knock me out.
Right. There is
Would
that.
suck. Would imagine getting like taking some dude down and like you get swept. Dude, there was a
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah. Right.
There's a guy at my gym who this dude, man, what the hell's his name? It's gonna kill me. If I remember it, I'll tell you later. But he was I think he had like 12 pro fights or like 10 pro fights and like a bunch of amateur fights. And he taught the jiu-jitsu classes. He was a small dude. He was probably 135, maybe 140. And like he was a brown belt at the time. And we were joking around about this. Barambolos are like super popular at this time, and like
I remember that explosion.
Everyone's doing Barambolos, and this dude was JP, John Paul something. Sorry JP. But anyway, if he was like, dude, he was like, if I get into a fight at a bar, and like I'll Barambolo something, and I'm like, what, dude?
Of all things to do,
He was like, I swear, I would love for someone to like hit me in a bar just so I can Barambolo. He was like, I guarantee they won't fuck me up. I'll pull guard Barambolo someone so fast that like I'll have their back before they can hit me.
That's such a hilarious like fantasy to have. Like,
Yeah.
please start something so I can Barambolo you.
Yeah, yeah. Now I train with Vince all the time, who probably could. Now I know
that.
how fast like people can bear. I mean, JP could Barambolo super fast back then. Like that dude could go upside down and take your back and like, you know, in a
So
second.
nuts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Vince is like that too.
It's
and
an entirely different level. Yeah.
yeah, just go right at him. Keep. So how much training have you been doing since
Not
since
much,
those
dude.
first classes?
Yeah,
No?
yeah. Full disclosure, I've been a turd on that for sure. Yeah.
So you're doing the weight loss challenge
Yeah.
via Peloton.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although grappling, I think, would get it done even faster.
It does.
It's the most tiring thing on earth, first of all.
Yeah.
Like, people who have never done it need to go to a class just to know exactly how out of shape you are.
Yeah, it's a different set of muscles, but I found I was probably like 230 or 220. I was probably like 240 maybe when I started, and I had been lifting weights just like constantly. Like after, I don't know, for a number of years, I was like, I want to get back all the strength that I had when I was in college, where I was like benching 300 or
Right.
squatting 400 and all this shit, but at a lower weight, you know, like
Sure.
do it at like 230 instead of like 300
Yeah,
when I was
yeah,
playing
right.
football. And then, so that's when I switched over to do jiu-jitsu. And I was just strong. I was strong. I wasn't any good at anything, but like it kept me in really good shape. And then once I started getting like better at it, you get more efficient at it.
Right.
So just like anything else, you're like, I can just lay and play half guard and
Exactly.
be lazy.
Yep.
And I started gaining weight. So when I right around when I got my purple belt, I think I competed in Chicago Open at blue belt. That was like my last competition before I got promoted, and I think I was like 255, and then I gained weight during the pandemic after that.
Right.
I was still training jiu-jitsu like 3-4 days a week.
That's
and
pretty
like,
nuts.
And it's like, yeah, but I was bartending, drinking, you know, all that shit. Like, so it's
Yeah,
all
yeah,
about
right.
all those other things. And then jiu-jitsu. So at Stout now, like I train like, I mean now for the last like month, I've been at the shop from like 8:30 in the morning till like 10 at night some nights. Like not solid for the last month, but like for the last couple of weeks, it's been a pretty grueling opening schedule.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But before that, I mean, I would train jiu-jitsu 2-3 days, maybe 1 or 2 sometimes, and teach class 1 or 2 times. And Warren would always be like, dude, come to practice. You got to come roll. And I'm like, I know. I'm like, but I gotta do like strength and conditioning. And it's not like heavy lifting. It's like kettlebell, you know, like mobilization stuff or like
Gotcha,
mobility stuff.
Yep.
A lot of like stretching and crap. And that's helped me feel a lot better. And it also helped me to be able to roll longer. Because I would just roll, like my back would get sore and like you get gassed out and then you like go back to your like, you know, comfortable positions and just like try and survive. But so I had to go back and like start lifting again because I was way out of balance, man. It was way too much jujitsu and not enough, and just burning the candle at both ends.
It makes perfect sense.
So when are you coming back,
Dude, that's the best question. So now that I'm here a lot, like when Stout opens here,
down
that's
here.
gonna be obvious.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, but I got to get back ASAP for sure.
Are you
It's
are
been
you
on the
into
radar.
striking too?
No, not at all.
Just you like jujitsu though?
Yeah, I like jiu-jitsu.
Oh, that's awesome.
I did. I loved it. I genuinely loved it, and the feeling when you leave is amazing. Like you feel great after class, as brutal as it is during.
Yeah.
But it's funny. Like you mentioned a lot of like how you get more efficient. Like those first couple classes, how inefficient. I remember times where I was like, I'm not breathing right now. Please remember to breathe.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
like you're so focused on just not dying that like
Yeah.
I was like, I'm literally holding my breath.
Yeah.
Like not only is my cardio awful, but I'm making it way worse.
Yeah.
Because I'm not breathing right now.
I think some of that shit helped me in the kitchens too, man.
Yeah.
Because I would, you're so clunky and like you're gonna cut yourself or something, or you're standing on one foot. And dude, so many dudes that I worked with would make fun of me for the way that I would stand. I would stand and like I'm ready to take a shot in basketball.
Yeah, right.
And like they're like, why are you standing like that? And I'm like, what are you doing? You're like leaning on your hip, cutting chives, like not like you can like look like this and talk and while you're cutting and you're not looking at me and you can do it way better and faster
But
than
if
I
somebody
can.
bumps you, you're going down.
But you're standing on one foot and I bet your back is gonna hurt. But if I'm like I don't know, like shitting on people, I'm like, dude, because I like want to be like an athlete, stand in an athletic stance.
Yeah.
And if I find myself doing it, like your back will hurt. And like
Sure.
I was telling people today, I'm like, we broke down a cow yesterday. Like we did 3/4 of a cow, and each of those quarters is 250, and like putting it on the table, breaking it down all by hand with hand saws and hand tools, flipping them over. I'm like, if your back hurts tomorrow, stretch your hamstrings, like do that stuff, man. Like, but jiu-jitsu kind of like helped me in the kitchens too,
I'm sure.
Like, it's that sort of body mechanics and all that crap.
That's so cool, dude. Where would you rank if you belt ranked your butcher skills right now? What belt would you be as a butcher?
This is my buddy Shirley asked me the same question.
Ah, damn it!
I swear to
I
God,
thought I had like
a
a unique question, and you're like,
He said
oh,
that.
also.
No, he did say that. And I had trouble answering his too, but I was like, I think I'm solid purple belt.
Okay,
I think I'm a solid purple
That's
belt.
solid.
Yeah, I can do some cool shit.
Maybe you'll progress the same. Like you'll get your brown belt in jiu-jitsu and feel like a brown belt butcher at the
Dude,
same time.
Yeah,
And like,
yeah, they're like parallel. I think teaching also helps,
Right.
And I think it will come through like on how well like our butchers do that are coming in with little to no experience.
Right.
And I'm teaching from scratch, and we'll see how they progress, and that'll be maybe a reflection on me. The same as like if you start teaching like.
how good are your students? Yeah.
When I see there were students that Bruno had when I was a white belt that they were getting their black belts and stuff, and I was like, oh man, like you roll like Bruno, and they were like, that is like the biggest compliment. That's what you want. You want to be able to roll like.
That's so cool.
And then in Madison, this dude Mike is one of the coaches there. He's a brown belt. He just won a pretty decent competition somewhere. It might have been Pans or something. And
Very nice.
He rolls like Mark. He rolls like his instructor. And
That's really cool.
And you could feel it in the pressure. You could feel it in like the setups and stuff. And all these guys down at Stout, like you can kind of get the influence. But there's so many good coaches there. There's you get guys that are starting. You ever roll with Jebda? You know Jebda? He does
Doesn't
real
ring a
early
bell.
mornings.
Yeah, I doubt I was ever there then.
He has a style that people start picking up on. Mike for sure, and all that, from Warren and
Right.
Sean Williams,
Yep.
all the way through like their lineages. Like it depends on which coaches different groups sort of like work with. The thing that's really cool about Stout is like the freedom where they allow you to like sort of work on things on your own. Like during the pandemic is when I moved back here. It was 2020, the summer, and I had torn my MCL or torn my meniscus. So my wife and I drove back to Pittsburgh while I'm on crutches. My leg is swollen. I'm taking like painkillers in the car for like
so bad.
11-hour drive.
Ugh.
And I wanted to train and I couldn't, and I had to get surgery and blah, blah, blah. So I would start going to Stout. They weren't doing classes that winter because there was no one's
Weren't allowed.
Definitely not doing jiu-jitsu. Like
Sure.
you're not touching each other. But,
Oh, you mean touching each other in a hot, sweaty environment isn't the best for transmitting
diseases? Yeah, shout
breathing
out-
in somebody's mouth.
Yeah, shout out Polish Hill Grappling Club, Polish Hill Grapplers Club. Still need the
Nice.
T-shirt, Paulie. Hook it up.
Come on, Polly. What the hell, dude?
So Paul and Vince. That's when Paul started training. I think somewhere around there. And
Nice.
him and Vince would be there on Friday mornings, and I'd just be lifting. And they're like, "Dude, you want to like roll with us?" And Jason Bram too. And so we started like a little crew that would like train together. And yeah, man, it's been a really fun last couple years being down there.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was so welcoming. It felt like I'm back home in Pittsburgh.
That's what I was just gonna say. I love how things have come full circle for you, man. You're back home and things are like settled in. I can tell how passionate you are about the butcher shop and the meats and everything that you're doing. I think it's awesome, man. This is killer. I had one more question. No, forgetting. Thanks. Shout out Brew Gentlemen for helping me forget questions. Oh no, I remember. So this is something, maybe I haven't been following your Instagram enough, but I was surprised, like you brought that sandwich in. Are you're selling food, like prepared foods as well? It's not just a butcher shop? Because when you said you're chef also, I'm like, why do you need a chef at a butcher shop? Like,
yeah, we kind of did. We're kind of doing like maybe too much of a slow roll open here, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so part of whole animal butchery is like you want to be able to utilize everything. And a lot of the stuff that you sell out of the case or people are looking for tenderloins, ribeyes, flat irons, stuff that you're familiar with. But when you break down a whole animal, you have a lot of offcuts and a lot of things that aren't going to sell. You're not going to sell beef shank in July.
Sure.
So being able to utilize that, like I took the beef shanks off the last one and made like a barbacoa. It's like just a whole muscle barbecue usually. And so being able to sell those like prepared items. So our chef and like even some of our butchers are doing like production chef work, like where you're rendering fats. So that's why we had to build a kitchen. So if you're going to build a kitchen, you may as well, do the whole thing. So we're doing grab and go sandwiches. We're doing breakfast sandwiches on the weekends from like 9 a.m. So we're open Tuesday through Friday from 11 a.m. until 7 p.m. and we're doing lunch from 11 till 4. So we've got like 4 or 5 rotating sandwiches on.
Nice.
This week we just like literally opened the door, stuck our head out, and we're like, we're open to like the people in the neighborhood.
That is so cool.
Local businesses have been coming in and like
Right on.
we wanted to allow them to like sort of discover us before we like posted everything online. Dude, I made a huge mistake though. So I'll get to it. So yeah, we're doing sandwiches every day. There's like maybe a roast beef, a smash burger, a meatloaf sandwich was banging. That was on special.
Dude, I love
There was a
meatloaf so
meatloaf
much.
sandwich with bacon and white barbecue sauce.
Yes,
and
please.
Jesse's making his own focaccia bread and ciabatta bread in house.
Ugh,
A lot of pickled, a lot of fermented stuff.
I'm gonna lose this weight loss challenge now.
The porchetta sandwich which I brought, and then I think we have a roast beef, and we got that corned beef and pastrami coming.
Nice.
But so we'll be doing sandwiches like every day, and then breakfast sandwiches early on the weekends from like 9 a.m.
That's sick.
Yeah.
What was on that breakfast sandwich? I didn't try it. I'm not gonna dunk into bread during the challenge, but what
Yeah.
was on it? Now I gotta know.
So I think that was, we did it on ciabatta bread, which Jesse made, and then it was an egg from a local farm. It was just like a dippy egg, as how we call it.
The best.
I had a friend of mine in a restaurant, a diner one time. They were like, "How do you want your eggs?" And he was like, "Dippy."
And they're like, huh?
Nah, dude, it was
I
on
love
51.
that.
They were like, "We got you."
Okay,
They're like,
good.
"We got you."
Oh yeah, they know.
Yeah, they were like,
I
"Okay,
always think
too
it's
dippy."
Dude, I do it out of town on purpose just to see what they're gonna do.
No,
I
dude.
love that because I legitimately love dippy. Like that's
Yeah.
my preferred style of egg.
Yeah, for sure.
I love saying it elsewhere and just getting the look of like,
Look at what
and
are
I'm
you
like,
talking about? Yeah.
over easy is fine.
So we got either bacon, sausage. That one was with it was a maple breakfast sausage I made last week.
Ooh,
So
very
we,
nice.
yeah, we made some sausage. So we made like some sausages, breakfast sausage, bratwurst, Italian sausage. We made a longanisa, which is a Filipino sausage with like South American spices. So it was like a Chilean longanisa.
That
like a
sounds
chipotle.
awesome.
we're gonna make some boerewors, which is like a South African sausage.
What's that flavor profile? Like that South African cuisine doesn't even resonate with me. I don't know what that would be.
I think so. I think the cool thing about it is I think it's a like more of a wild game sausage.
Ooh.
So I don't know what they're eating down there.
Yeah,
but like
right.
The spices they use are similar to a Dutch flavors because I think it's like
Interesting.
there was like a Dutch
Colony
sort
or
of
something?
colony
Yeah,
thing going
okay.
back and forth.
I'm not a history guy,
Yeah,
but
so border, I think they always say it weird because like I don't speak I don't know any like Afrikaans or whatever.
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
like boerewors, and it's the two words are boer, which is like a wild boar. So it's
all
like,
right.
and then worse is like the sausage. So like
Got
you
it,
got
got it.
knockwurst, bratwurst,
Yep,
all
yep.
those worsts. So it's from up there, and then they would do like wild game,
Okay.
wild boar, deer, shit like that, and make it into a sausage. So it has a lot of coriander, marjoram, similar spices to
Sure.
a bratwurst.
Gotcha.
But you can use lamb. We
Sounds
could use
good.
deer. I'm
I'll
not
try it.
doing any deer in the shop. You're not allowed. But
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it like wild game like that illegal, or you need a special permit
it has
for
to
it, or
be
what?
from a farm. It has
Is
to
that the
be
deal? Okay.
USDA certified processing with a stamp. If I'm gonna make any deer
That
sausage,
sucks.
it'll be in one of my friends' garages. or
Black
something.
market deer sausage. Yeah. My
Yeah.
dad so obviously my name's Hunter. Like my dad is a huge hunter. That whole side of his family is crazy into hunting. He literally was in a tree bow hunting this morning. Like that's their life, and they
Yeah.
make deer sausage every year, dude.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to. I think the main thing we'll be able to do is supply some pork for people like your dad to be able
It's
to.
good enough. Yeah. Mix
yeah.
in with it. Yeah. Hell yeah.
We've got some fat on hand.
That's sick. So when is the official grand opening, you said? I need the date.
Grand opening is Saturday the 12th. This weekend.
This
2 days.
All right. Yeah.
So
we're gonna have to get this out then. We're gonna have to get this out tomorrow.
Send it. Yeah, we're open now. The shop was open. There was a bunch of people. I mean, we made some sandwiches. I was bullshitting with some Yinzer in there like 20 minutes ago
That's
about
so
making
cool.
his like Italian sausage recipe. I'm like, I'll do it. Dude.
I'll try it for
I'll
you.
make it.
What's your name? Name it that.
Dude, I handed him my recipe and was like, send me what you want me to do. I don't know.
That is
I was
hilarious.
like, I'll make it in house. I'll make you like 10
I'll
pounds
do
if
it
that's you want.
for you. But
Yeah.
if it's your sausage, why aren't you just making it at home? Why do you want me to
You'd
make
rather pay me to make it.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
What a weird flex. I kind of like it.
I like making sausages.
I could
yeah.
make this, but I want you to make it for me.
Yeah.
Like, what?
He
What are
did.
you doing?
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I got to come in, dude. Like, my freezer needs stocked up for sure. I'll be in.
Yeah, man.
Buy some stuff. That's sick. I love, dude, seriously, the pastrami. Like, that's no cap, as the kids say. That was the best pastrami I've ever had in my life. This
Thank
was
you.
phenomenal. I know this wasn't yours necessarily, but I
Yeah.
appreciate you bringing it nonetheless.
Sure, yeah, it's a good one.
The beers were good. The chats were good, dude.
Beer's good.
I appreciate all the time, brother.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for coming out. Like you said,
Anytime.
you're super busy right now, so I know that
Yeah.
finding a pocket of time to just drink beer and bullshit is tough, but we
It is.
appreciate it.
It
yeah.
is. I was glad to step away for a bit. and
I'm
I think
sure.
The crew was like, every once in a while, they're like, just go do some, like, I
Nice.
had one day off in the last month and I went to the gym and it was like the most enjoyable.
I'm sure.
It was great. So I got to start working in more of these things into my schedule so that I have a little bit more balance.
Right on.
But I will do this. I'll come down anytime.
Yeah, dude, our doors are
great to-
open for
yeah.
sure. And
Let me know.
especially if you keep bringing good shit, we're down.
Yeah.
Get us off the weight challenge so I can actually eat one of these
Let me
sandwiches.
know who
too,
wins.
yeah.
Maybe we'll give the winner something.
Oh, dude, I'm in. I got this. No more beer. Get this out of my sight. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Go check out Fat Butcher Shop. It's right in Lawrenceville, right?
It's right in Lawrenceville,
Yeah.
5151 Butler Street, Upper Lawrenceville. Come through.
Beautiful. Go check them out. Later.